What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and tonight it's time for the very first monthly comic book review panel of 2023. That's right, we'll be talking about the best comic books of January. And yes, we know DC technically got one more release week in January. We don't count that bullshit. We know what they're trying to do. They're trying to stand out, but we're not going to let them. So we're going to talk about everything that came out on a new comic book day, Wednesday proper, for January. So we got a great panel tonight, including Nick from Comic Culture. What is up, my man?
What's going on, dude? I love that we're starting the year off with a great comic book review show. Let's get into it, dude. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I promised 12 shows this year.
You did.
Not skipping a month. And I gave everybody the date very early.
You did. Props to you, man.
You know, the next show is going to be February 26th, I believe. I think it's the same day. So there you go. I already got it on my damn. Anyway, Manny is here as well. What is up, my man?
Station, dude. I'm freaking pumped. I'm pumped. I got like more comics just this week than I got like the whole freaking month. This was a heavy week, bro. And you forced me to read them all before Thursday. So I my hat's off to you, my friend.
Yeah, now you know how it feels, right? Now you know how it feels. We also got the one, the only Brianiac. What is up, my man? How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
There it is.
Yep. Over hard. That I mean, is that because of the egg crisis we got going on with all the?
Oh yeah, bro. You better calm down on the over hard eggs, man.
Yeah, I can't have them anymore for a while. I'm going on a break.
I had an omelet this morning. No wonder that shit was so expensive.
Was it like 30?
And it was small. I was like, this is a small ass omelet. I understand now. Speaking of small omelets, it's also Bearded Comic Bro in the house. What is up, my man?
Not much. I love how you're just like come out right off the gates, just like, hey guys, I just want to let you guys know I'm balling because I had an omelet today. Like I can afford eggs. Like suck it. We're scraping by to get comic books, and you're just like, I had a 4-egg omelet. What's up?
4 eggs, man. Wild.
Yeah, wild times here in PCP land, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna have a great show tonight. We're gonna be talking about our favorite comic books of January. This may involve some spoilers because some of these books have been out for a while. Some of these books have been out for a day. But that's what we do, and that's how we do it. And I love it when I have to encourage you guys. Like everybody tells me, man, I'm rushing through my reading stack so I can be there for Thursday night. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's how it is every week. Anyway, so I'm gonna kick us off tonight with my favorite book of January 2023. And it is a book that continuously surprises me. I think at any moment it's going to drop off and I'm just going to be accused of hyperbole, right? Junkyard Joe. Junkyard Joe number 4 just came out yesterday. Every issue has made my pick of the week. Every issue has blown me away. I am so surprised with how much Jeff Johns is doing with so little, including Gary Frank, the artist, who's an incredible artist, but Junkyard Joe, the robot themselves, has no facial features, and there's so much emoting done through the artwork in conjunction with that story. Brad Anderson on the coloring, y'all, it is precise, concise line work from Gary Frank, well-placed coloring from Brad Anderson, and Jeff Johns is in not just a resurgence of his career, he's in the best part of his career right now. He has had a lot of success in comics, a lot of great runs, but ever since Doomsday Clock, I feel like Jeff Johns was really able to study structure and how he wants to approach it, and complexity and breeziness at the same time, right? And I feel with Doomsday Clock, with his work on Flashpoint Beyond, with other writers, which, let's all be honest, we love Jeremy Adams, Tim Sheridan, okay, but Flashpoint Beyond was like John's heavily influenced, right?
That was good.
That, Geiger, and now this, Jeff Johns is doing some really great work. It's emotional. It's driven. Like the first issue is I keep saying that. The first issue is the Vietnam War. Yep. Second issue goes a little bit further. Third issue introduces new characters, and now it's all coming together so perfectly. Such a great issue. Holy cow. Junkyard Joe continuously impresses me and makes me feel very okay with having it in my top 5 comics of 2022, even though it only had 3 issues. Nick, you reading this one?
Dude, I can't agree more, dude. This is probably in my top 3 books that are active right now. for sure. This is one of them. And so I think you said it perfectly. The art style in here, it's hauntingly beautiful. It has this color pop to it too. So props to just the way that they're handling that dynamic, right? How they're able to balance that. It's dark, it's moody, it's emoting, like you just said, somehow, even though it's a robot character. I love how in this particular issue, we were introduced to another family nearby, and without getting into, there's not really spoilers here, but they're getting more involved and the stakes are increasing even more towards the end of the issue as well. So love this book. It's one of my favorite books in writing today. It's incredible.
It blows me away. By the way, Greg, you're like super close to 1K.
Yeah.
Everybody get right now to Bearded Comic Bro. Link in the description below. Get to his page. Sub up. Come on, y'all.
So yeah, I was getting pretty close. So here we go.
Oh, I hope we can hit it tonight, man. That'd be great. Anybody got champagne? I don't. Speaking of champagne rooms, Manny, you reading Junkyard Joe?
Hell yeah, I read Junkyard Joe. Junkyard Joe hits like I thought maybe it was going to be heavier, right? Because last month we had that parallel about the artist needing, losing his wife, and then Junkyard Joe's taking on all these kind of domestic responsibilities, and then it reaches this kind of boiling point where both characters have this kind of emotional breakdown. I thought we were going dark, but this issue kind of goes like Johnny 5 is alive, kind of like the kids are super excited. There's something very happy and like it hits all those right notes. So Junkyard Joe, absolutely. I don't know what the hell a doomsday clock is. I've never read that, so I don't know what you're talking about there. But the art is phenomenal, and he's able to emote. And I don't know if it's because he's such a blank state, and because the circumstances, as surreal as they are relatable enough that you like almost project yourself into Junkyard Joe. Those eyes are just reflective, and you can just kind of, imprint yourself on there. But it's very, very cool what's happening with that. I also like the thing at the back that tells us where this fits on the timeline, because I was like, I don't quite know how any of this ties into Geiger, and it's cool that they gave us this, but it's also really cool to know that this book stands on its own apart from Geiger, and then this is something anyone can enjoy, even if you don't enjoy Geiger. And if you don't enjoy Geiger, I don't need you in my life. Get up off the show. Go.
Right? I mean, dude, it had a glow in the dark cover. I mean, that's all they needed to do for me, to be honest, was a glow in the dark cover. But no, you're right, man. Like, it's part of a larger universe, but it stands on its own. And you get the feeling that all of these books are going to be like this. Now, we know that Brian Hitch is coming on to do Red Shirt, which is like Revolutionary War era. We had a little tease to that in the Geiger 80-page Giant. Mm-hmm. Gary Frank and Jeff Johns, they are clicking right now. They are doing so much great work, and we want to shout out everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Throw out a station. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you think about the books we're talking about, and what are your favorites of the month. Brian, you were not reading this book. I shamed you enough that you finally got caught up, I believe. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I didn't think you'd let me on the show if I didn't read it, so I went ahead and read it. Yeah, no. I really like Junkyard Joe. This last issue was really, really solid. I do like it better than Geiger. I haven't read that 80-page Giant though. I need to get a hold of that one. But no, I'm into this universe. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the the new series. That's exciting about Brian Hitch too, doing the Red Shirt one. That's definitely got me excited on that. But yeah, the one emotional
every
bit.
Every time another subpart issue of Venom comes out, I'm like, bruh, we're like another month away, like further away from Red Shirt, right?
Oh, is he doing Venom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that one emotional part in that really had me cracked up was when Junkyard Joe is looking around the corner of that wall.
Yes.
And then it kind of does another panel, and then it's the same panel, but he's not there, and she's like, I don't know, just. Those are beautiful moments, and it's what the comics medium is for, in my opinion. It's those types of things that like really shine in comics. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad you're liking it, because I always hate to really like twist someone's arm to get into a book, and then like they're like, bruh.
You've only led me astray a couple times. I mean, most of the time you're pretty good.
When did I lead you astray?
See that I want to say it was like Young Justice or something. You were like really selling me on that one. And
I told you that
I'm in my late 40s. Okay? Yeah,
I
was in
told
my
you,
late
Young
40s.
Justice was, man, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
You just watched me and Brooks talk about it on Comics Revisited and got all hyped. Whatever. Greg, are you reading Junkyard Joe?
No, and I'm so mad at myself because I love Geiger. I love that universe that Jeff Johns and they've created. And so I, for whatever reason, did not know this book was coming out.
Damn.
Man.
All right,
So-
everybody that just subbed up to Greg.
Unsubscribe. No, I'm done. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks.
I think you just hit it, bro. Yeah, you did.
I did.
Congrats, yo!
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
Station.
One day.
Congrats.
Station. That's fucking awesome. Man, let's
Yeah,
just
no.
bask in this for a
Heck
moment.
yeah.
Greg, you got anything you want to say? Not to put you on the spot, but you want to thank gods. You want to thank families. You want to thank friends. You want to thank Rockin Robbies. I don't know.
I just want to thank the Academy for what they did. And no, man, that's cool. It's fun. It's grinding, and it's always fun to see everyone. And when they hit the 1,000, and I don't know why 1,000 is the mythical, like you've made it if you've hit 1,000, but you know, I don't know. So it's cool. So thank you all for subbing up.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. Congrats, man. I really appreciate that.
For sure.
All right. Nick, what's your favorite comic of the month?
Man, I feel kind of guilty picking another book that came out this week, but I don't care. It's actually
This
my
was the
favorite
best
book.
week of the month.
It was an insane week. So many good things. Now, guys, we've talked about this book 100 times before, maybe 60 times before. This is Saga 61. Came out, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples on this one. I swear, this is probably the most Saga book that we've gotten since we've come back from our break. Now, the other ones were good. I think this is the best one so far since we come back from our break. And I think it has to do with the little flashbacks we have in here. We have some really interesting character moments that we knew existed in the previous runs, like past relationships and stuff. We explore a little bit more in here. We get to see a few more characters that we found in the previous runs, like in the earlier issues. And we get our classic Saga tropes in here, our splash page, shocking moments, very, very clean, crisp, beautiful artwork from Fiona Staples. That kind of like unnerving, kind of like tension building writing that we've come to expect through Saga. And the last couple of pages, there was 2 shocks at the very end of this book. The last one was particularly interesting for me, and I bet for a lot of readers for Saga. This book continues to deliver month after month. I'm so glad it's getting back into the rotation again. I'm wondering if we're going to get 5 or 6 issues before we take a little mini break again. Interested to see where that goes. I kind of forgot what their timetable is, but Saga has to be on your reading list, I think. My favorite book of the month.
Word. It's always going to go 6 issues and then go on hiatus. That's what they're doing, because the 6 issues make up each trade paperback. They're cutting it together like the Walking
That's right.
Dead, basically.
Yeah.
But it's a good structure. What I love about Saga is, it was like a year ago where we celebrated its return.
We did.
Basically, we had that show on Verno's channel, right?
Yep.
And we all reread the 54 issues and we got back into it, and it's been on hiatus again, not as long, thankfully, and supposedly it's not on that long of a hiatus until it ends, which is going to be like 106 or something, I think they said.
Yeah, it was about double what they put out
108.
previously.
Yeah,
108.
108. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
108. That way they have those 2 compendiums.
Yes.
They're just perfectly in 6 hardcovers. Anyway,
Yep.
I was worried because I was like, okay, I don't really remember where we were, right? But it's just like a good TV show that, when it takes a break and you come back, like a Stranger Things or a Cobra Kai, maybe you don't remember necessarily where you were. I love that my Cobra Kai is one of my examples was a good TV show.
It's so good.
It is so good. But as soon as you start into it, you get right back into the flow of things. Every issue of Saga, Brian K. Vaughan gives you just enough to get you back into the characters, back into where they're at, introducing something new, reintroducing the old stuff, throwing older stuff back in, which they started doing again because they're bringing up, what's her name? I can't remember her name, but they're bringing
Starts
up
with a P. Yeah.
Patrick
Petrish or something.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Correct us in the chat, please. I love it. And I love its ability to do that. Its ability to go outside of my mind for months and months, and then instantaneously right back in, and always in with a cliffhanger that just has you craving more. Brian K. Vaughan, I think he's got a bright future in the writing industry. Manny, you reading Saga at all?
I am not, and it's very disappointing because everyone tells me how good it is, but it's like I was telling Nick earlier, it's daunting, right? Every time someone mentions a number with Saga, it's always like 10 times the age of anybody I know. Like I
But
can't.
in a world where we complain about all these reboots, Manny, and we're like, why do they always get a reboot shit? I was so relieved to be like, this is an issue 61. Good for you. Right?
You know what though? That logic only holds true in certain instances, because I just read in Action Comics like 1000 something, and that was boring as shit. So I mean, there's you got to give some grace there.
Oh,
I actually
move
like
that off my pick of the week. No,
whatever. I actually like that one, but okay, whatever.
I didn't actually read it. Fucking Superman. No,
I was gonna say, like, I know there's a lot of issues of Saga, but it's not like Earth X or some of these other books where there's just.
Why you shit on Earth X, man? It has nothing. Nobody brought that up, Brian, but you.
Because it wore me out, man. I just couldn't believe why there's so many words in it.
It's another time I let you down, I guess. Was Earth
X. No, but I did like it. I finished it the other day and I did like it. But
Saga's so smooth. It's buttery smooth though. When you're reading it, you truly do get lost and you don't really realize you're reading 3 or 4 issues all of a sudden. It's not a daunting thing. It doesn't feel like a chore. 61 is not a whole lot. If you don't start now, man, we're gonna have 108 before you know it. And it's incredible, dude. It's incredible. You got to check it out.
I would encourage everybody to, because like Rogue Collecting says, you'll fly through Saga. 100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was nervous when we did that show with Verno because
who's going to read it all?
Man, I only got like a day to read these.
Yeah.
Done. Did it. Just done. Yeah. It was so easy to get into.
Yeah.
Brian, you read Saga. Tell us your thoughts on the newest issue and it in general, if you want.
Well, yeah, I've loved Saga from the beginning. I didn't read the issue this week. I felt pretty good reading 6 of the issues in my pile. And I figured it would come up anyway. I mean, it's such a good book. I mean, Fiona Staples, I mean, just top-notch character work and everything. I mean, and yeah, Brian K. Vaughan's just, I mean, he's got the winning formula, for any book he writes, really. But, this one, he's just nailing it every time. So, I mean, I'm excited to read the issue tonight and everything. But
you haven't read the new one?
No, I didn't read the latest
bro, it's
issue.
Wild, dude. It's Gambit insane. Shows up. It's so interesting. Wow.
How much is that going for on eBay then? Like
right now, well, Key Collector hasn't really sent out a notification yet, but we're just crossing our fingers.
Okay. Good to know. I should have got 2 copies. Dang it.
You should have got fucking 4, mate.
Yeah, I should have cleaned your shelves out, man.
Get all the Saga variants too.
Make sure nobody else can read Saga.
Greg, you read Saga?
I've read all the way up until this last issue.
Nice.
I have not enjoyed it since it's come back a lot. The first 2 issues were good. The arc. So Nick, you telling me that this is back to Saga gets me excited, because I got back into reading comics 3 years ago, and that was one of the first things that I read because everyone recommended Saga. I crushed through the first 54 issues. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But this last arc for me, it just didn't do it. It didn't feel like Saga to me. There was something missing. Yeah. So I didn't grab it right now because I was like, well, maybe I'll just trade wait and see what I'm doing. But going off of this conversation, it's making me want to go back and pick it up then.
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't want to really spoil this for any people that like Manny hasn't read it, but there was a big stuff that happened at the end of 54. Right. And so I think when we go back and read the whole thing, the whole saga collectively, I think this is going to be a really kind of, we got to be in this kind of lull. Yeah. Right. And then start building back up. Right. And the family's in a different spot here in issue 61. And I really, really like where it's set up. It's introducing new characters, bringing other characters back into your knowledge. Right. And so it's starting, now it's about to be ramping up again. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And it's a good pace that this whole thing has. I think it's amazing. All right, Manny, what about you? Favorite comic of the month? Since you don't read Saga.
Yeah, I don't read Saga. You know what? I'm going to go with, let's go with this one. What's this one? Oh, Spy Superb. Spy Superb was really good. Really good. There was something very, very charming and almost the mundane of 2/3 of this book. Like it starts off getting you all excited about the Spy Superb, and then it's almost in almost in an indie film way, circumvent your expectations, just gives you this really mundane exchange for like the middle part of the book, and then ends with this really funny, action-packed kind of scene. So I really enjoyed that. I liked it. Filled a void in my life that normally Shirtless Bear Fighter fills for me every month, and this month's Shirtless Bear Fighter kind of sucked. So this filled that void for me, gave me something absurd, something a lot of fun, and something that was really easy to read and relate to. So I really dug Spy Superb.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I'm a fan of Matt Kent ever since Mind Management. Even though Brian's always quick to remind me that I haven't finished Mind Management, but I really like his work. I think he does great stuff. A lot of people know him as the co-writer along with Keanu Reeves of Berserker. Matt Kent is, the way he treats comics, the way he thinks about format, the way he thinks about how to utilize every inch of space in that comic is amazing. And such a cool idea that the greatest spy is a dude who has no clue that he's a spy. Like, in the way that they use people, like, that seems damned real to me, especially in today's world. I feel like Matt Kent's a little bit, he's such a cool dude when you meet him. He's a great guy. But I bet when he goes back home in his off-the-grid cabin in the fucking woods or whatever, he's just really paranoid about the government. Now, the biggest Matt Kent fan I know is Brian. Brian, what do you think about Spy Superb?
I fucking love Spy Superb, man. I got it in my stack here. I was going to do it during the quick part, but yeah, he's just a phenomenal writer and artist. I think on this one, Charlene, his wife, is doing the colors. And so, like, if you read Mind Management, he did the watercolors for that as well. But he learned how to watercolor from her. And the first time they worked together was on Department H, which I highly recommend as well. It's a really good murder mystery kind of book there. I think it's 24 issues, I want to say. But it's like another level up when she's doing the colors for him and everything like that. Cause like, she really, like, she nails those colors and everything. And he's just got, him and Lemire are really good friends. I mean, they constantly have these, they both have the same work ethic, and they also, like, they just always have crazy ideas that they pull off. I mean, they put all these cool things in there and it works, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I can't say enough good things. And I'm pretty excited about Hairball coming out sometime soon. And I mean,
have no clue what that book's about, but it's Matt Kent and cats, and I'm sold. Sold.
Yep. Yeah. And he's got a lot of books out and everything. I highly suggest, if you haven't read any Matt Kent, and if you need like a shorter one to get into, there's one called 3 Story. I think it's about a guy that keeps growing and everything. And the cover's really cool because it actually has a window box and his eye is kind of coming through the window. It's he's just great, man. So
yeah, he's a good thinker and innovator for the medium, I think. Yeah. Did you read Spy Superb, Greg?
I did, and I've been looking at my copy of Mind Management ever since, Brian, you said that he did the colors and his wife did the colors on because the colors are stepped up a notch in Spy Superb for sure. This almost felt like what is it? Bill Murray. It was a remake, The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Yeah, the Coen Brothers film. Yeah.
Where it just is like he's falls into this as a spy, and you're just like, holy buckets. But yeah, anything Matt Kent does is fantastic in my opinion. And because he did a spy thriller book last year or 2 years ago, and I was wondering what Bang, and I was curious of like, where's that gonna, which was great. And so I'm like, how are you gonna do another spy book, but it's a completely different route. It's issue 1, so like, it's highly recommend people hopping in on this one because just the story the pacing of the story, where you're like, this is such a unique idea of, it's this almost like, not what the word I'm looking for, but not mystical, but where it's like nobody knows who this Spy Superb is, and it's a being out there, right? And it ends up just being like this,
it's mythic, right? It's
mythic. It's just this dude off the street that doesn't even know it. It's so good.
Yeah, so good. What about you, Nick? Did you read it?
Yeah, you know what? As soon as Manny brought it up, I was like, man, I need to write this book down. But as you're talking about it, I think I did read it actually, and I don't have it in my stack right here, which has never happened. It's so funny. This is the book where like they get the cell phone bit, right?
Yep.
Like, okay, I did read it. I liked it a lot. It was really cool. It has like a weird like 007 thing with like a mysterious element. We don't know who it is. There's like a secret government organization that controls the world. We need to keep this illusion alive, kind of a thing. I thought it was very well done. I liked it a lot. I need to find it. I can't believe I actually forgot about that book, man. Great.
I can't believe we talked about a book that all 5 of us have read.
Yeah, we were bound to do it.
Is that a first? It's a first for 2023. We can say that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also did want to point out my Matt Kent original here of Black Bolt and Karnak.
Oh, that's cool.
By the way, I got from him here.
Go ahead and pull it off the wall, man.
I don't know. This one might be fastened in.
Yeah, that might be command stripped.
Come on, man.
I'll I think it's nailed in.
Just rip it
Okay,
off.
go grab a hammer.
Here we go.
Yeah, it is.
There we
go.
Oh,
Nice.
And that's the base from Mind Management there, because he wanted to mix them together, and you know the Inhumans lived on the moon at the time and stuff. So yeah,
That's dope.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, I got that from him in I think 2016 at Heroes Con. So
Heroes Con is the best con. We keep telling everybody that.
I was about to show off the remark he did on my hardcover, but then I'm glad I didn't, because now Brian's just like, hey, let me show you this dope.
That's the thing, though. If you order from his store or go see him at a show, he'll do that, and he's good with the remarks, man. He does all sorts of stuff on there.
Well, yeah, because I saw him in Lexington like 2 years ago, and they had like 4 comic creators there, and nobody was at his table. So I just was like sitting talking to him forever, because I was like, man, I feel bad for him. No one's there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that one I ended up talking to him for 3 hours on Sunday, actually. Nobody ever came up, so I didn't feel too
Brian
bad.
has to beat me again. I talked to Matt.
I got a remark in my Mind Management too, and Brian just put us all to shame. So I'm not even going to try to drag that out later. Maybe I'll do that on another show sometime when Brian's not here.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
I bought my mind management from somebody else at somebody else's table at a booth. They might have gotten a remark, so I might be involved in this as well.
Apparently, Matt Kent remarks are easy. I mean, honestly, this dude will do anything for you. Brian's got this cool thing that he was doing at Heroes Con this last year, where he would type you out a story, it was like a story commission. It would be like a little paragraph long story, and you picked Black Bolt, right?
No, I picked Forager.
Forager, that's right. The Bug, the Forager, from New Gods, and he like typed it out on an old school typewriter, and didn't he like wilt the edges with some flame or something like that, dude? Like, how cool is that, man?
Yeah, that's the one. That another book I love of his is called Red Handed. It's a one book that's real easy to get into, and if you buy that from him, he actually finds a specific page and lights it on fire, and then remarks it and hands it to you and all that. And
wow,
I know
people are like, what the fuck are you doing in my book, bro?
Yeah. And I realize we're making this kind of a Matt Kent appreciation show, but
it's fine.
I listened to an interview with him, and I don't know which college he went to, but he talks about how he loved all of his classes in college, except for he had to take one in performance art, and he just thought it was awful. But that's where that came from, is he figured that he could actually start doing stuff at shows, performance art, mixing it in with his stuff. And so I just thought it was really cool that he was able to dig down and figure out how to use, all, stuff that he didn't want to be a part of. I don't know. He's definitely one of my favorite people in comics. So
yeah, that's awesome,
sure.
Man. All right. Now Brian, what's one of yours? So we already talked about some really great books, man. So pressure's on you, brother.
Yeah. Well, these are always hard, and it's even harder in a Shaolin Cowboy-less month for me to pick. But I'm gonna double dip with my first one just because it's the same character, but I'm gonna go with Strange and Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise. I know Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise comes up a lot on this channel, but yeah, this is Tradmore.
Still don't know what the fuck's going on in that book, but I love it.
I feel like every once in a while I get it, and then it changes completely scenery, and I'm like, I don't know where we're at now. But like this one deals with the concept of ideas and the concept of shapes and how those are warring things going back and forth, and I don't know, it's just I mean, the art in this it's just I mean, I don't know, and I think his wife does the colors too, actually, but
Yeah, I believe so.
but look
My
at
wife needs to step up her game.
but yeah, I don't know, just I mean, there's so many. I mean, pretty much every page is just fabulous. And then on Strange, I don't know if too many people were reading this one, but I pretty much buy any Doctor Strange book. And this is where Clea became the Sorcerer Supreme for our dimension, and including she was already the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension. I didn't know that. But it's just kind of this is the final issue of this run, and it does bring. I mean, spoilers, it does bring back Doctor Strange. I think we all knew he was coming back anyway.
Well, they've already announced the Jed McKay Doctor Strange book for March or April or something like that.
Oh, did they? Okay, yeah. But
I got this show called the Weekly Pop Culture Wrap Up. You should check it out, Brian.
I mean, it's pretty long though. I mean, I listen to most of it, but sometimes
by
you
the way,
get.
that show's like 7. This is my shortest video.
It's the shortest one.
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But yeah, they like there's one part where they they kind of merge together, and it's got the whole Eternity vibe, from the because Eternity and like Living Tribunal, all that came out of Ditko's Strange early original run. All those really cool cosmic concept characters and everything, and that kind of comes in. And I thought the artwork in this was really dang good for a Marvel book. I mean, there's a lot of good artists on Marvel. I don't want to say
You
that.
had that caveat there,
no.
right? Like for a Marvel book.
Well, I think it should. Yeah, I mean, I've got a Marvel book as my pick of the month. That's
Well, that's what
not
I'm saying.
normal
Is
for me.
Marvel's stepping it up a little bit. Like Marvel can get bold sometimes, be like, Tradmore, do whatever the hell you want, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's gorgeous.
yes, yeah, but yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
These are-
I'm not
that's
reading
fine.
Strange. I stopped reading Strange. I don't know. I wasn't vibing with it for the first few issues, but Fall Sunrise, holy cow. Like, I think it was the best single issue that Marvel released in 2022 was the first issue of that series.
Mhm.
It is incomprehensible at times with the story, but there is a little bit of poetry to its use of language. Sometimes it feels, I don't know. This is the first Tradmore written book I've read, right? And it's a truly psychedelic experience. No drugs needed. You don't need to eat some shrooms. You don't need to drop some acid. You can just read this and you are tripping when you read this book. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's fantastic. You reading this one, Bearded?
No, same boat with you. I picked up I read the Many Deaths of Doctor Strange, then picked up Strange, and I think we talked about issues 1 or 2 on the show, and I think we both were kind of like, it's not. So I stopped on Strange, and then I tried my hand at that first issue, and I was like, my brain was hurting. And I was just like, it's not going to be for me.
See, what's crazy about that Fall Sunrise book is that there's actually a spirit molecule within us that activates when we read it, right? And if you are honed in, I'm just joking. Anyway,
That's my problem. I'm not honed in apparently enough. I was, dang it.
what about you, Nick, man? You got any thoughts on these Strange books?
No, echo what we just talked about last 30 seconds. That's exactly my experience with it. I was reading it and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And issue 2 is in the shelf at my shop. I should probably pick it up and just give it a second
It's
or
just
give it a glance.
It's just gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Like it's just fuck the words. Just goddamn, just look at it. It's so. I hope we get a treasury edition of this because
Exactly.
it's
God.
beautiful.
That's exactly what I was doing last night when I was reading this. Is I was like, this would be better like this.
Yes.
Yeah, without that annoying lettering. yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I like that old school stuff.
What about you, man? You got any thoughts?
Let me put down some of these indies, put on my monocle, and say, for a Marvel book, this is most indubitable. It's freaking weird. I buy it. It looks cool. There's a lot of cool lines. It's like looking at a freaking kaleidoscope. I get it. But I read into shit all the time. Like I'm trying to find deep meaning in like everything. And I'm reading this and I am lost, y'all. I am lost. I'm like, I want you in pain. I want you alone. I dream. What the hell kind of art school fucking beat poetry is this?
Bro, if
I
Neil
like
Gaiman
the
wrote
art.
that shit,
The art
you'd be
is
into it.
beautiful.
If Neil Gaiman wrote that shit, you'd be into it, man. I'm just
I
saying.
would definitely be into it. It'd be tattooed on my back, but Gaiman didn't write this. Chad Moore did, and it's cool to look at. It is so cool to look at, and God help me, if I could get my hands on some shrooms, I would love it all the more. But it's out of my depth. I can't understand it. I can appreciate it, but I can't understand it.
I never knew that Greg, Manny, and Nick were such squares. To be honest with you. Never knew that. Never knew that.
Oh,
No, it's the artwork, man. And I keep saying that, like, I'm enamored with that artwork. I fucking love it. Like,
man,
it's so beautiful.
Those remember when we saw those original pages that Taylor had of his? Yep. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure those are going to be up for sale sometime soon, but I can't imagine the cost on those, man. It's just like, I don't know. It's real. I don't know. It's intense, man.
Yeah, so it is. It's not comprehensible, but these comics need to be understandable
or relatable.
What about you, Greg? Bearded? What you got for us as your pick of the month?
I just like how we literally all talked about the same book, and then Brian's just like, I'm gonna pull out Trad more and just screw this up. And nobody read the. We
had a Matt Kent bonding moment. Then we
Brian's just like, screw y'all. I'm derailing it, bringing this back. Gang, that's one I always talk about, and I got to because it's the 100th issue. Nightwing was fantastic. Oh yeah, I like it. So if you say anything bad, Manny, I'm gonna punch you. So
I am.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Because if you say anything bad, that means you hate Alfred Pennyworth and you hate Bruce and Dick Grayson, and that's cool because those moments,
fictional characters. I don't care.
You're not a real fan if you didn't like Nightwing 100.
So, no, I liked Nightwing 100. I liked that everything it had to say was set in Dark Crisis, just fucking last month. But otherwise, it was good.
But not in the way that it needed to be. So what I love about Tom Taylor when he brings to it is the way he does dialogue with these characters and the moment we get the special moments, right? Like typically you get Bruno Redondo's artwork, which is fantastic, and how he does the fluid motions of the fight scenes and stuff like that. But for me, it's those moments where you have Bruce and Dick talking about, this task that he has to do, moving forward, and the setup that it's going to have now for Dawn of DC. I just love those human elements that are being brought to the Nightwing story here. And I just think Tom Taylor does such a fantastic job with the dialogue in those conversations. And so then when you compare him with somebody who can bring out the fight scenes that and they just look fantastic, it makes for an all around great book.
Word. I love Nightwing. I think Nightwing's been a great book. I love Bruno Redondo's artwork. About a year ago, I was heavily criticizing his use of digital screen tones, but I think that he's actually perfected the use of digital screen tones for his work. I like the sleek style of it. I like what Tom Taylor's doing with the character and the world, and really developing and evolving the relationship with Barbara and Richard, right? Because I didn't want to say Barbara and Dick. So that being said, Nightwing 100, I loved that it brought in other artists from the past, like Scott McDaniels, like Eddie Barrows. I really liked that. I thought that was cool. That was classy. The book felt a bit self-congratulatory and look at me and look how good we've done. But at the same time, it's a 100th issue celebration. That's what it's supposed to do. I didn't dig on it as much as typical Nightwing books. I think if this is someone's first Nightwing book, they're going to not want to come back. But it was a good pat on the back for making some comics for 2 years. So that was nice. And I appreciated that. So Nick, what'd you think about Nightwing 100?
You know what? I picked up this issue because I haven't been following Nightwing ever since I want to say somewhere in the fall. I ended up jumping off of it. And I just picked this one up because it was 100th issue. So why not? So I was a little bit disappointed. I was hoping for a little bit more for a 100th issue. There was tons of action in there. Pretty standard plot. We had kind of like a jailbreak kind of a situation. A lot of heroes got to team up and get in there. A lot of cool character moments like we were talking about before with Bruce and everything. A lot of emotion there. Again, to Manny's point, I think that in Dark Crisis, we saw that same character achieving a lot of these same heights and being kind of promoted in a way that we saw in this issue as well. I think it was executed a little bit better in Dark Crisis, but we had a lot of other things going on inside of Nightwing 100 that kind of added a little bit more flavor to it. So I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was all right. I don't know if I'll be sticking around for more, but I'm glad so many people are liking it, man. That's great. So
it's been a good book. It's definitely worth like checking out from the start of Tom Taylor's run. And Spilios mentioned in the chat that it seems like the future issues are going to be very Titans heavy. And it's because we just got the announcement that Tom Taylor's doing a Titans series. That's going to be a flagship DC book as part of Dawn DC. So of course it's going to be. Manny, you read Nightwing? I know you got some thoughts, right?
Yeah, no, I did like Nightwing. I thought it was good. I think every issue of Nightwing that has come out has been pretty good. The only thing, like I said, is the passing of the torch to Dick that was already handled in Dark Crisis. The moment, the real emotional payoff between Bruce and Dick is a great scene. Bruce just had a similar moment with Tim in the failsafe stuff in Chip Zdarsky's book. So like a lot of the impacts are lessened, and then Heartless trying to fill that power void by going through one of the most generic Batman-y tropes of releasing the inmates from Arkham, or in this case, the prisoners from whatever the real estate that Dick needs for the Titans Tower. It's all just cliche for 100th issue. I don't know what I wanted, and I've said this 100 times, where it's not fair for me to project onto creators what I want. It just didn't feel like 100th issue. But it was a damn good read. Always is. Nightwing's good. It's still a good choice, Greg. But it just, was fucking horrible.
Brian, you reading Nightwing?
I'm not reading Nightwing, but you guys are making me want to, though. How long has Tom Taylor been on the book?
What 2 years?
87 or something? 80?
Was it 78?
No, 78, right?
78.
Come on with
78.
Okay.
So that's what?
78.
That's 22.
22 issues.
That's almost 2 years.
22 issues, yeah.
23 issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth checking out. The trades are available, or maybe
is,
the hardcovers are or something, but I don't know. But it's available in collected edition. I think that's a great way to read it. It does kind of get...
Yeah.
There are moments like with Fear State and then a crossover with Superboy, or my bad, Superman, Son of Kal-El. It's a Superboy book. But there's a crossover there. It kind of throws off it for the second arc, but then it kind of, I don't even know if the Tom Taylor books have those issues. Maybe they do. I don't know. And it's a good run. It's a good run. Bruno Redondo's art, amazing. It's one of DC's best. And Tamara Bonvillain's the colors, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't Bonvillain the colors?
She's fantastic.
I need a correction here. I could be wrong. Greg, this is your book.
I know. I blanked on checking on that though.
Is it Bonvillain? Or maybe it's
not in this issue at least.
Who is it?
It's freaking everyone. No, but I mean
Adriano Lucas.
Oh, that's right. Adriana Lucas. Thank you. Yeah. It's not Bonvillain, but it's very similar to her and Jordy's style, kind of a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I'll check it out.
Guess it's time for my second book. My second book of the month is All Against All #2. From our friend Alex Packnadell with Casper Wingard on the artwork. I loved issue #1. We had Alex on the channel talking about it. That's a great conversation. Y'all need to check that out if you haven't already. Issue #2 was better than issue #1. Man, I love it. The whole premise is this. Mankind has completely fucked everything up. The world has ended. It's over. It's done. But there's this alien species out there. They're like jellyfish, but they have to make these biomechanical suits to exist in. And so they go and they farm other worlds, worlds that have died. They find and harvest the DNA. Like they're Jurassic Park in the shit. You know what I'm saying? They create these like biodomes where they're like putting all the shit together and recreating the population of Earth and trying to figure out if there's like any kind of predator bits they can use, because now they're in this like never ending intergalactic war with another species. Right. So they're on Earth. There's this one scientist who's like in charge of everything. There's one human in these biodomes, and they don't know that polar bears don't need to be in a jungle climate. Right. So like everything's sickly and decrepit or whatnot, but the one human is strong and learning to survive. So the general wants to utilize this new technology, this biotechnology, and find this human And so it's kind of interesting because it's like the idea of alien, but the alien is the human and the aliens are the humans, right? You get what I'm saying? It's a really interesting switch on it. And when we were talking about with Alex about this, he said he always thought it was bullshit, that whole kind of trope that you get in Tarzan, that a white man, even in a uncivilized world, would be civilized and would rise up to be the top. This dude is the predator, right? So in issue number 2, they first of all, they kill off some characters that you thought were going to be like the thorough like line throughout the whole thing. It shifts and it changes. They capture Helpless, which is the name of the human, and now they got this creature on their ship. So it's an alien ship with a human, and the human is like the predator who's going to fucking tear through all of it. Casper Wingard's artwork and the coloring, wow, so different than what he just accomplished on Homesick Pilots, where he had a very sleek, sophisticated, clean line, but a little bit of that punk rock edge. This one feels more raw, more visceral, more charcoaly, more gritty, more textury, and more like teeth into you. I loved this book. Nick, did you check this one out?
I did. On your recommendation, I got to be honest, I read issue number 1 and I got about halfway through and I was like, what the hell was going on in this book? I just couldn't follow who the different aliens were initially, like what they were doing. But then I watched, not to, get on to you too hard. I watched a review on it and I was like, oh, I completely missed the whole plot of this entire book. So maybe I should go back and read that one again. And the second reading, it took me 2.5 readings basically to understand what was going on. Then issue number 2 just completely clicked and I had it in my stack of potential best of the month. So yeah, totally agree with you there and echo everything you say. It's a great book, man. The art is incredible in this thing.
Say the name again.
All Against All. Issue number 2 is out this month.
Issue number 1 has a great Spawn variant. That's awesome.
It does.
Yeah. And the coloring, like, because in Homesick Pilots, you get this like pink and blue kind of thing, but he's adding this green and it's like pastel-y and sickly a little bit to show the sickness of these artificial environments that they're creating for these. Like, I didn't even realize that like everything was decrepit because they're throwing all this shit together that doesn't belong together. Alex told me and Brian that, like, when we had him on, he's like, oh yeah, don't you, he's like, because they don't know that a polar bear is not supposed to be in the jungle, and they put all these different things together, and the human surviving. And man, Alex is such an intelligent thinker. Like, he's such a. I every time we've had him on the channel, I get so nervous because I'm like, I'm so dumb compared to this dude.
He was our first interview, and he has a PhD in literature. And here's our first one, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, we're like, we're way too underqualified for this.
Yeah.
So you're liking it, Nick. I'm glad you gave it another shot, man.
Yeah, totally liking it. Yeah, it's a great book.
I thought 2 was a vast improvement, and there's a humanity to these aliens too, and there's some interesting power dynamics going on there. Manny, you reading All Against All?
I am. For me, the artwork, it almost needs that black though. Like Homesick Pilots, he used a lot of black. He doesn't use a ton of black here. What he does is kind of like ethereal, because there's just some moments of violence in here that you kind of get lost in. Like when Helpless and the main scientist alien have their final thing at the climax, it's a little harder to read what happens because it is just pastel squiggly lines in red. You know what I mean? Like, what happens, but I think it would read cleaner with a little bit of black. But I'm not a great artist like Casper, so I'm gonna defer to his expertise. What I really dug about issue 2 is the fear that the Doctor has of Helpless, but there's also like a compassion. Like when he's telling the story about when he released the humans into the biome or whatever, and he's like, oh, they couldn't even hold their heads up. Other primates were way more efficient. And then you get these flashbacks of him feeding them. It's because they were helpless, and it moved him to compassion that instills so much terror in him now. It made me think of what it must be like to be like the parent of a psychopath. Like right now I have a psychopath, but he's 2, he can't do anything. When he gets bigger, then I'm going to understand truly what this fear was that this alien had. It's so well conveyed, even though these aliens don't look like humans at all. It was easy to understand the emotion and be caught up in it, because that final moment with Helpless, he's scared, but there's still this like love, there's still this like draw towards Helpless. He did what he could to try to protect this deadly vicious alien. So I dug it. I liked it.
I'll tell you what, man, those dudes fucked up because they're putting him on the ship, bro, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. This book's going in places I wasn't expecting it to, and I really do like that. I can understand what you're saying about some of the artwork maybe being not the most clear, but I at the same time I kind of disagree. I love the lack of spotted blacks and line and like dark lines and stuff like that. Like there's not many holding lines as far as black lines go.
Right.
And I think that's actually something that's really kind of cool to me. Right. I like the visual approach because I like that Casper Wingard, who could be very comfortably doing what he does and just making money like he is right now with those Star Wars variant covers that he's doing. I just feel bad that Casper Wingard's the best Star Wars cover artist to do these like anniversary variants, and he gets stuck with fucking Attack of the Clones. Like, what the fuck, man? Are you serious? But if anybody can make Attack of the Clones look good, it's Casper. I love.
That's why they put their best on it to make sure someone buys it.
That's right. And if you guys have never read Limbo by Casper and Dan Waters,
right,
please do. 5 issues, I believe. Perfect comic, and especially if you like VHS and analog entertainment stuff like that. Brian, I know you got some things to say about All Against All. Go ahead.
Well, first I want to show Danny's variant cover. I'm normally a cover A guy, but if Danny does a cover, I'm pretty much going to snap it up. Her style is just, I don't know, it's just too cool, I guess,
Yeah, I love her.
But yeah, this is like, it's high concept sci-fi. I mean, like describing it as aliens where the roles are reversed, or Alien where the roles are reversed isn't really enough for this. I mean, because it's handling society issues and I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's a fantastic
think about this,
read.
Brian. Like the whole idea of an alien race that is jellyfish, basically space jellyfish that have to use like biomechanical suits that they glean from like the DNA of other races and species. That's a whole concept for a whole book.
Yep.
That's just background in this, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, because that's one thing that I think Alex does really well is he takes these concepts, but then there's all this characterization in it, and you watch the characters develop too. I mean, there's like they're not static characters by any means and everything, and yeah, Manny, I like what you were talking about the scientists there, because like humans up to a certain point, they are helpless, right? I mean that's and so like they're underestimating all this stuff, and they just thought that they was just going to die, and all that stuff, and then like nope. It's like I mean the art on the cave should have been enough to tell them too, right? I mean that's not a hey, we might have something else here, right? I mean that's not I don't know. Yeah, it's I'm very excited about this book. Yeah, I can't wait for the issues to come out. When I see this one, I get real excited.
Nice,
yeah,
nice. Greg, you haven't read this one.
I haven't, and it's now on my list because you all sold me.
All right, you might have to read issue 1 a couple times, according to Nick, and I did
and
too, because we got to read it early because we had Alex on the show, so we got to read it early.
Yeah. Well,
it was great.
Don't want to pass without talking about Haas's lettering too. Sorry, I forgot about that. Like his lettering on this is like I don't know how he just keeps leveling up, man. I mean, like using different colors for the different people. I mean, you've seen that a lot and everything like that, but he just does it so smoothly and so well. Like it helps anchor like a lot of things in there. I don't know. It's just
what Haas is doing right now is oh my god, his work in 2022 was astounding. My letterer of the year, and the work here. Look, read this. Read Agent of World. By the way, Brian, we got Agent of World 4. I'll send it to you. Very excited for that, y'all. Yep, it's real.
I'm gonna have to log off.
It's happening, y'all. Anyway, so hell yeah. All right, Nick, what's another book you want to bring up?
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the stack. I have 4 books in mind, and there's really no wrong choice here, honestly. So we're gonna go with a book that completely threw me off guard. It's one I haven't had experience with before, but it's a volume 2 that came out from Mark Millar and Jorge Ramirez. We have Nemesis Reloaded, issue number 1. And so I didn't know anything about this character. I don't know anything about it. I know it's had a previous run and whatnot, but it was really a book that once it started, there was just no stopping the action in this book. I don't think that there was a single page in here where there just wasn't something insane going on. And it's like a completely over the top premise for this character. It's almost like if Batman, with his unlimited resources and his just insane ability to like put together a plan, was basically like the Punisher or like the Joker even, right? He's just kind of going off the chains right now, doing some incredibly crazy things and attacking the system head on, attacking the underworld head on, and attacking like the government systems as well. In this particular issue, the police in general. So incredible book. Jorge Ramirez, I think he was actually on Batman recently, and then he hopped off for an issue, and then I read this issue and I was like, okay, thank God he's still around, because he did an incredible job inside of this one. And man, it was just a great book, and makes me want to go back and read the original stuff. So I cannot wait to see where this one goes. Massive cliffhanger at the end. I think it just checked all the boxes for me. It was just like a fun ride. It was nonstop, and I can't wait to read more. So yeah, Nemesis Reloaded, man. It was a killer book.
I have never read the original Nemesis. It's like the one glaring like hole in my Mark Millar reading, right? And apparently this is like a reboot, because he was saying that like screw everything that came before. You don't need it. This is a brand new iteration of Nemesis, right? And I thought the story was all right. I thought it was cool. Yeah, it's like Batman, but he's like really going for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I like that, and he's a bad guy, right? And he's really going for it, and it's got the kind of police stuff going on, and that was interesting enough. But man, Jorge Jimenez, one of my absolute favorite artists right now in the mainstream. Dynamic, kinetically charged artwork that just soars for me, and you get to see him unrestrained doing a Mark Millar book, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have to kowtow to whatever DC editorial says is appropriate. So it's more bloody, it's more gory, it's more dynamic actually, and it's way more sexy. You know what I'm saying? So like I absolutely loved this book in particular, just to see Jorge Jimenez soar. And that's what Mark Millar, and Tom King has this ability too. Mark Millar, though, is a way different writer than Tom King, but both of them get to work with the best artists in the industry, and it makes them look so much better. And Jorge's he's just one of the best, man. You reading this one, Manny? I know you are. And take over for me. I got to dip out for a second.
All right. Dude, Nemesis Reloaded was awesome. I wasn't on my radar either. I like Fable, have the hashtag blame Nick. It was damn good. I liked like you said, it's just balls to the wall, right? The action does not let up. It's going full throttle into it. There are books like Space Bastards where you finish and you're like, I got to take a shower. This book, you need an exorcism because you like it so much and it's so damn evil. Like the blatant disregard for life and murder that this character has. I don't even know what happens at the beginning with like the it's like hillbillies or I assume they're
kind of left up in your right.
They might not be, but I'm like, what the hell happened there? And it's in my head now. The stuff he did to them in my head, I need therapy for. That shouldn't happen from reading a book about a bad Batman. But yes, really, 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 really good read. It doesn't have a lot happening narratively, story-wise. I don't know if it's trying to say anything specific about police and the current state of policing in this country with what's going on in the story. I hope not, because if it's just this blank slate, bonkers, nihilist romp with an evil Batman, I'm here for it. Speaking of evil exorcist nihilist romps, Brian, are you reading this book?
I am reading this book. I did read the original, and that was a long time ago. And I can't remember who the artist was, but it was one of the top in the field at the time. And I loved the original run. The only thing I didn't like about it is it was 4 issues and it never came back. If I remember, it left, it like just the first 4 issues really was just to introduce you to the concept. But it was gorgeous. and it was violent and just, I mean, it was awesome series, but but yeah, that was the one thing is like, I remember after the last one, I was like, oh man, looking forward to more Nemesis. And so we have this, and I wasn't disappointed at all that they were rebooting it, really, because like I said, I mean, that first one, I'm not sure, if it's just setting up the story, I mean, the character and everything, that's not, not too hard to just, start over again. And, but yeah, this issue, I loved it. Yeah. I mean, everything you said is that y'all have said is spot on. I mean, Jorge Jimenez is, he's top of the game right now. Right. I mean, he's so dang good. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to more for sure. Yeah. But yes, I'm loving it.
Speaking of someone who always leaves you wanting more or wanting more from him, Greg, are you reading Nemesis?
I am now. Gang, I feel like you guys do this to me every freaking show. Like, I read comics, people. I do. Like, I have a stack here, and you're all just like, let's pick the most obscure ones that bearded out. So I haven't read Nemesis yet, but Jorge's art is so fantastic. And I think what made me realize how much I like Jorge's art is the fact that he wasn't on Batman 131 on that Chip Zdarsky run. Yep. And like, no knock on Hawthorne at all, but like it missed Jorge being on there. And seeing that and feeling that, to now know that I have a book where we can just watch, like Robbie and y'all have said, Jorge just bask in his glory of, no holds bar. I'm in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's so good. It's so good. You can't really see it because I'm small, but the artwork in this is just peak. Jimenez. Like, look at this. Look at this. Like, this is a scene where you would think the hero is jumping in to save people, not to murder everybody and rob them. But that is what's happening in this awesome panel.
Yeah. Everyone's head gets lopped off in that next scene, and he's just destroying all the establishments right now. He doesn't like the underworld, how it's being operated today. He doesn't like the law enforcement, how everything's being confined. He's wiping the slate clean. He's going to take over the universe. And he does it in a magnificent way.
I had a moment when he has all the gang leaders in that pool.
Yes.
And then he explains what's going on.
Yes.
You ever like read a book and you start like standing up because you're getting excited?
Right. It's
like,
exactly
that's what was happening during that scene. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. My favorite movies are Disney movies, guys. So for stuff like this to be in front of me, it's I'm about 10 seconds from getting a creepy ice cream van and just cutting sick because this book has touched my soul and led me to some dark places.
Yep. But that's definitely my stupid, fun, amazing art. Having a ball pick of the month for sure.
Nice. And everybody spoke on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Manny, what you got, bro? You're up.
Boom. All right, let's go. Here, it's top of the stack, whatever. Let's go Punisher. I thought Punisher was really good. I thought this was such a great issue. Great way to start tying up the current arc, but setting the scene for the next big thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it gets you excited, but it's still keeping you engaged. I've said this before on the show because we talk about Punisher all the time, but I love Punisher by way of other characters. The fact that he is simply a plot device to move the story along, but it's really a story about Maria and what's going to be happening with the Deaconess or whatever her name is. That is like the best way to do Frank Castle. When we in the Punisher Max, getting it by way of the other guy in the platoon in Bourne and getting it by the way of Microchip, that was such a smart way to keep Frank Castle separate so that we don't totally understand him. He's like a weapon. You know what I mean? I think that's so smart. Punisher is really good. I never thought I would like a supernatural Punisher after, being an angel of death and stuff, but I freaking do. This Superman Punisher is so dope. So dope.
It sounds so stupid. Like Punisher's going to be the leader of the Hand. He's going to like be possessed by the Beast. He's going to go up against Daredevil, all that kind of shit, right? And man, it works, and it works so well. Jesus Saez and on the artwork and on the modern day stuff, and then Paul is it as a what is it? Brian?
As a Sita.
As a Keta.
Paul Azeketa, who did Outcast with Robert Kirkman.
Right.
two completely different styles, but it works so well. And think about this. This book's been going on. What was this? Issue 9 or something?
Mhm.
Yeah.
9 issues, consistent art. Holy cow. Marvel can do it. You know what I'm saying? They have other books that do it. Strange Academy as well. Punisher's a great book. It's a great run. I'm loving that it's on this collision course with Daredevil. And both books are like, Daredevil is kind of like leaning into it. And Chip Zdarsky's, there's going to be, I don't know, Hand versus Fist, some bullshit title, Alpha. And it's going to cross over between the two and an Omega, because that's what Marvel's doing right now. They're doing it again with Wolverine and Ghost Rider coming up. But I love the hell out of this book. I think it's really great. It's hard to write a Punisher book and make it captivating in the long term. But what Jason Aaron's doing here, you know, Jason Aaron soured on me lately because his work on Avengers just kind of flattened for me, and it just kind of got overstuffed and overdone, and it's still like on this like 24-part finale or something. I don't know what's going on. I stopped reading it a long time ago. But his work here and on books like Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, top notch. You reading Punisher, Brian?
No, but I am reading Daredevil. So like, there's a part of me that thinks that I might be missing some of the. I know it's not like fully crossed over yet or anything, but I, you know, you can definitely tell it's coming to a head, and I know y'all have been talking about it past several months, like, you know, glowingly. So I do want to check it out.
Hand and Fist Alpha #1. Just wait and see. Speaking of Hand and Fist, what about you, Bearded? Have you been reading Punisher?
I'm not a Punisher guy. It's hard for me to get into a Punisher story. I will say this is interesting to me because hearing your guys' discussion on it, to hear that there's a different take, right? Because I feel like that's why I've never enjoyed Punisher much as my go-to, like for a long-term series. I've always liked him as a side character and not like a leading a main book series.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to check this out more, just because I didn't read Jason Aaron's run on Avengers and stuff like that, but everything else he's been doing in the past when I've been catching up on comics, I've loved what he does. So this
it's
is
good.
One I gotta check out.
Now he's done Punisher work before. He did Punisher Max Volume 2 with Steve Dillon, which was like out of continuity type stuff, different interpretation of Kingpin and Elektra, but I enjoyed that. There's one of my favorite Punisher moments is in that Jason Aaron run, and it's when Frank he's near death. He's beaten, he's bloodied, he's in a full body cast, he's near death in a hospital bed in a prison. And all these prisoners, like one representative from each like faction in the prison is there to converge on Frank Castle and kill him in his most helpless state. But when they get to him and he's sitting there and his internal monologue is saying, "I'm ready. This is the end. Maria, I'm coming to see you," right? Man, they all get so scared because they're like, there's no way it's this easy. He's up to something. So they all just slowly back off from Frank Castle. So he's so threatening, right? Jason Aaron understands his character. And what I love about him is he understands who Frank Castle is and who the Punisher is. And he understands and takes up the challenge of how do you make an ongoing Punisher story captivating. And he does so by not just placing him in a different scenario now as the leader of the Hand and having his wife be resurrected, but they can't resurrect his kids because they're too far gone, right? His kids have been shot up. They can't bring them back, but they can bring Maria back. But he's like sheltering her and coddling her and not allowing her to know that the kids aren't back and what's really going on. And he's sinking deeper into this. He wants to overtake the Hand as he's sinking deeper into it, right? Yeah. But they're also revealing a lot about his past, his first true kills, his motivations, even from a child, how his obsession with like the military and Captain America led to what was going to become the Punisher. And it's so much, I've never seen character development on Maria like this. Never. It's never been done. Like, it's so silly. Bring her, the Hand can bring his wife. It sounds so silly on paper. It sounds like in the 90s it'd just be some dumb cheese.
Yeah.
They are handling it in a very grounded and impactful way and really illuminating the character of Frank Castle through Maria Castle. which I love. Nick, you reading this one?
Dude, it's amazing. I love this book so much. And as you're talking about it, it just kind of reaffirms how much I like this book. The usage of like fire in here, we've essentially have like a Super Saiyan Punisher in this book, and he's been progressively leveling up issue from issue. What's really fun is like the dynamic between him and Ares, the god of war. Like he's really upset that he's not on his side. He's like, you should be on my side. You're like the ultimate thing. And now I'm going to kill you because you won't join me, kind of a situation. This is the big battle issue. As it's playing through, there's no real dialogue between those two characters. It's actually dialogue from Maria, and she's actually kind of walking through one of his, some knowledge that she gained about Frank himself, about the person he is and stuff like that. And there's almost like a Rocky Adrian thing going on here. Like he's not willing to fight until she gives him the blessing. You know what I mean? And so like, I think we're going to see him leveling up again in the next coming issues. And I'm really excited to see where that goes. Some of the other characters they introduced at the end of this one, we kind of saw that building up a little bit. He's hitting the radar of a lot of interesting people, and it's almost turning into this mini event. I can see it going in that direction, which is really fun too. The only criticism I have is Daredevil's a little bit out of sync with this. It feels like if you're just reading Daredevil, you're missing so much about this potential battle. It's insane how much you're missing if you're just reading Daredevil. And you read Daredevil and it's like, oh, I can see where you're heading in that direction, but I'm Punisher, we got some bigger fish to fry for the moment. And as soon as we're done with that, then we're going to head towards you. So I'm excited where this book's going to go. And I'm loving it. It's a great pick, man.
Yeah, me too. I think it's Marvel's best ongoing book right now, period.
Yeah.
Straight up. And one of my favorite books of 2022.
Yep.
Plus, I knew that would get people pissy, because they're like, Punisher, what? He's not using guns. No, he is using a gun.
No, he is.
He took him away, but they built back into it, bruh. And it's this book is really good, y'all. Brian, Greg, y'all need to check this one out. Brian,
I will.
What's another book you want to holler about?
Okay. So this one is it's Carmilla, the first vampire. It's a Berger book. Karen Berger, who helmed Vertigo during the
British invasion, basically.
Yeah. And it's written by Amy Chu, and it's drawn by Sue Lee. And I remember when this was announced. I'm a big fan of Sue Lee's artwork. I don't think I've read anything by Amy Chu. I'm just not sure what else she's written. But the fact that there was it's based on a book that predates Bram Stoker's Dracula. So that's why it's called Carmilla, the First Vampire. And but this one, this isn't a collected edition. It just came out as a trade. So this is the format for it. And
graphic novel is what we call those, Brian.
Graphic novel.
It's a graphic novel.
Okay, I'll try to remember that.
Based on the original.
I just like calling them comic books. But I love Sue Lee's artwork. She did a series called Ash and Thorn, and I think she did some stuff with Red Sonja, and she's doing the variant covers for Cherish, by the way, that Katana Collins series. But she's just got a fantastic style. And just looking at that cover, like it's just gorgeous to me. And then, it weaves in Chinese mythology into it too. Main characters Chinese, and then you find out that she's kind of in this line of people that hunt down a Chinese monster that's a really close analog to a vampire. And so it sets up, it's setting up a different world in it too. And I think there's room to keep going after this one too. But I mean, it's a good story, well-paced story. And I mean, you're following along, learning with the main character and everything. And, but yeah, I don't know. I was real excited for when this came out, and I don't know. It's I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't know. I recommend this book. It's great.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I did.
You liked it a lot. Enough to talk about it tonight. Now I have this, Brian, and I haven't checked it out yet. I'm a big fan of the idea of Carmilla. It's Carmilla or Carmilla. I like to say Carmilla because it just makes me feel fancy. But
okay.
It's me and you were talking about this. It's like there's a Hammer film, The Vampire Lovers, that's based on that story. There's a great Audible version that has David Tennant in it of the original novel, and it is the first like vampire story. Everybody credits that to Bram Stoker, but this was it, and it's very female led. So I'm interested to check it out. I did flip through it. Artwork looks great. It looks very sexy at the same time. Which, if you like sexy vampire stories, maybe you want to check this graphic novel out. Anybody else read this?
No.
All right. Everybody check that one out. Greg, what you got next?
Speaking of sexy vampires, no. I've loved it since issue 1. And I'm sure Manny's gonna hate it. But issue number 3 of Specs for me from Boom Studios. David Boer, Kanto, Chris Sheenan, who did the art for Autumnal. Covers are done by Skylar Partridge. Like, it's just, if you haven't been reading Specs is this idea. Basically, these kids are reading a comic book. These teens are reading a comic book. They see an ad for these special like glasses that can grant them any wish, and the next day they just show up. Like, it's one of those call-in ads, like, or tear away coupon, send it in, and they start making wishes, and bad stuff just starts to happen. And so now it's only a 4-issue series, and in issue 3 here, you're starting to see how they're trying to deal with this idea of what happens when, you know, you make a wish and you hope for something, and what are the ramifications that don't line up to what you expect it to, right? Like, it's that kind of reverse, you know, idea of, oh, I got 3 wishes, everything's good, but it seems like these glasses just cause havoc on anybody who ever wears them and wishes with them. I've just thought this is a lot of fun, and I'm excited that it's a 4-issue series, because to me, it's like, it's got a story it wants to tell, and that's it, and be done with it.
That's what I love about David's work, is that you can have something like Kanto that's structured for individual stories with a long form thing going on, right? And then he's able to craft these really tight short things like Killer Queens. I think it was only
fantastic.
4 issues.
Yeah, it was 4 issues. Yep.
Right. His adaptation of Joe Hill's Reign was like short, right? Like 4 or 5 issues.
Yeah,
and so he thorough good on the artwork. I'm loving Specs. I'm loving the ideas. I'm loving the exploration of this man who's coming into his sexuality, right? And trying to figure that out. But at the same time, he gets this fantastical set of specs that causes any wish to come true. So he gets rid of the bully, and it leads down this path of craziness, right?
Right.
But it's got this emotional beat that Chris Sheehan is able to really capture emotionally through the artwork. He's known for a lot of horror work, right? And rightly so. He's working on the Nightfall double feature right now, right? And I love the artwork here. I love the story. I love the pacing. I think David's a fantastic writer. We had him over at the channel over on Manny's channel back in the day. I had a great conversation with him. So I'm loving Specs. And Specs, maybe you want to check out Specs. How many Specs are checking out on Specs? Anyway, how many Specs are checking out on Spec? Nick, you reading this one?
I got to read that issue still, but I liked issue number 1 and number 2. There's a lot of things going on, like we just said. It's like a monkey paw situation in this like racist town, and these boys are growing up and they're trying to figure stuff out. There's a lot of balls in the air right now, so it's like it's pretty cool. I love the cliffhanger in issue number 2 because it's like, oh, something went wrong. It's that kid, and they're like, why are you pointing to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's very it's just kind of on the nose, and it's just interesting. I like it a lot. I got to pick up that issue though, but I was digging issue 1 and 2. It's a good pick.
Yeah. Manny, you specking on Specs?
Fuck, I can't. I don't want to be mean. Greg already said I have to be mean. I like Specs. Greg, if you subscribe to the channel,
why are you always shitting on Greg's pick, man?
Why you hate me? Why do you hate me, Manny?
Oh, you know why? Because you're so damn pretty.
I watched your show.
Pretty.
I watched you for an hour talking about My Little Ponies with your kids. So shut
very
up.
True. Very true. No, but Specs has been a lot of fun. I really love David's work. I don't think he's written something that I don't like except for the last part of Kanto. Otherwise, it's been really good. Specs, I love in this issue specifically that we're diving deeper into the mythology of the glasses. I also love the way the art shit. I'm a fan of, because I'm a fairly new reader, probably. I'm a fan of things that other comic book readers are probably like, oh, that's so passe. But I love that I love the color shift. Whenever we go into the supernatural stuff, everything gets red because the book itself is very brown and blue, right? And then anytime something supernatural happens, we get this nice red tint. It's an easy visual identifier for weebs like me to be able to tell what's going on. I enjoy that. It's a little more directly supernatural in this issue. That's the only thing I think structurally that threw me for a loop with issue 3, because before there's still this kind of idea that they're wishing for things that maybe isn't always 100% supernatural, right? Maybe Skunk is trying to set them up for murder. Maybe the cops just arrested your friend because, you know, there's a freaking knife with his DNA in the woods, right? Like maybe it wasn't tied to the glasses. And this one we go full bore supernatural, and it's like, okay, cool. Now I know where we're going. I can buckle up and I can jump right into issue 4.
All right, which is the finale. Yep. And I like that. Just get in, tell the story, get the fuck out. I think that's a really great way. I mean, more people maybe need to do that. At the same time, we need more long form stories like Saga, things like that. Right?
You can't
Don't be afraid of the big number.
You can't write giant long form books when you got a whatnot sale every 10 minutes like David's got. All right, he's got to write and move on.
Whatnot's like David. Brian, you reading this one?
I am, yeah. I'm really digging it. Yeah, and I love like y'all said. I love David's work. I mean, I was introduced to it through Kanto, and then pretty much bought everything he's done since. And yeah. I don't have anything to add to what y'all said. I agree fully. It's a great book, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the finale for sure.
Hell yeah.
And just like that, I brought us all back with all pink.
Right?
Go.
Yeah, right.
There
We're
you
all
go.
reading specs.
Yeah.
All these specs are specking on spec.
Spec that spec.
No.
Anyway.
No.
Shit, is it my turn again already?
Yeah.
All right. Man, what a great panel tonight, y'all. All right. I really want to highlight Nick Cagnetti, Pink Lemonade number 5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have been really into Pink Lemonade since the first issue came out, published by Owning Press, but it was originally like 2 issues done on, I think, Kickstarter or somewhere else. But they republished that, and now it's the full thing. And I think this is the penultimate issue for now. I want this book to continue on. Pink Lemonade is a very interesting character. There's a lot of Madman vibes that I'm getting. There's a mysterious past. She seems to have almost like been rebirthed in some kind of way. She doesn't remember her past, so there's a mystery, but she is this very vibrant, buoyant, and charming and infectiously positive character, right? And such great design. I wish I had the book in front of me. I should have had it here. But the book itself has been great, and it gives me those Allred Madman vibes. And I have been bold, and I've even said this is probably my favorite, my favorite new character since like Hellboy and Madman, right? Like I think so strongly. All right, yeah, there's Pink Lemonade. Let me blow you up. I think so strongly about this character, about this world. It's filled to the brim with pop culture references, comic book references. A lot of it's very subtle. If you follow Nick's work on his social media, you'll see some really cool stuff. In the last issue of Pink Lemonade, our main character dies. So this one is basically like Brian, it's almost kind of like It's a Wonderful Life type bit in a way. But what they're doing is there's this character named OJ Robot, which is this big pop culture icon who starts off so innocent and pure and winds up being this like extreme violent rendition of itself. And it's exploring the path of pop culture through a love of pop culture and art throughout this entire series. In this one, Pink Lemonade is going through this transcendental, existential journey through a bunch of things that is so goddamn tragic, heartfelt, heartwarming, inspirational, and at the same time, each double-page spread is a reference to a different animation style. You have claymation in there. You get like Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo stuff. You got reboot, really bad, like CG. They even say like, oh, we spent so many years developing this, and by the time it aired, technology had already crossed over, so it looks stupid. I was like, that's how we all felt about Reboot and Beast Wars. You know what I'm saying? So referencing all of that, there's like a Dragon Ball type, like a manga style, and dude, the artwork. Nick Cagnetti is amazing. He's actually also making actual models and taking pictures of them and integrating them. Innovative as fuck. And I feel so ashamed of myself that I gave a spot to Punisher on my top of 2022, and I didn't shout out Pink Lemonade enough. I don't think this book. Let me see. Yeah, dude, you got to look at it. Show that. That's like it's hard to see, but like those are actual models photographed in front of those. Yeah, bruh. It's amazing. This is one of the best books out there. Pink Lemonade. Like, everybody needs to read this shit. It's so goddamn good. You reading this one, Nick?
I'm not. I think this is not the first time you brought it up either. So
it isn't because I saw is this issue 5 or 4?
Mm-hmm.
5.
I saw it in the shop and I'm like, I know freaking Robbie's gonna talk about this issue. I need to read it, but I'm like, should I just read issue 5 and go in? And
I know. It's on my list. I write down all the things that I didn't read that you guys have, and so it's on the list. I'll get to it. There you go.
It's so good, y'all. And we need to buy it because like this is only press. This is very small numbers, right? Every little bit helps with Pink Lemonade. Go buy those fucking issues. Let your shops know you want them. Trust me, if you like Madman, this is the book for you. Manny, have you read this at all?
I have not. I've been scared. I have legitimately. I have told people. I was like, I can't read this book because if I don't like this book, I don't know how I'm gonna tell Robbie. Like, it might break.
You're gonna love it, man. You're gonna love it. I promise you, man.
The trade paperback. I saw Nick put on Twitter that was available for pre-order. So
all right, let's get those pre-orders in, man. Because if those trades do well, maybe we'll get a second series, and we goddamn better get a second series. I'm gonna make sure we get a goddamn second series of Pink Lemonade. I'll tell you that, right? I'll crowdfund it myself. I don't give a goddamn, man. We're gonna fucking do it. Brian, I know you're reading it.
Let's change the name of the channel to Pink Lemonade Appreciation.
Yeah, Pink Lemonade Philosophers. PLP, everybody. PLP movie night.
The Mac Pink Lemonade.
No, I freaking love this book, and I actually found out about it from the show we did later last year, the August-September one. And I always love that art style and everything, but there's also a lot of vibes of the whole Bob Kane, Bill Finger thing. You know, I mean, like, because it's the guy that's controlling OJ Bot and doing all these things is this stern guy, you know, and all these things. And he's basically a Bob Kane analog saying, I'm your creator. He keeps showing up throughout the thing, like kind of haunting. He's like haunting the story, just keeps showing up. And they're, and Pink Lemonade's like, I don't believe he is though. And then you find out that this other guy actually did all the work. All the other guy did was create the name, you know? So, I mean, it's that whole story there, which is, you know, to me, a huge part of pop culture because I don't know. I'm sure a lot of folks have seen that Bill Finger documentary. I think it's on Hulu, but that's heartbreaking, man. I mean, like, you know, to me, sometimes it's a little bit more heartbreaking than the whole Superman one. You know, I mean, it's because, like, I mean, Bill Finger just, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he like, I think he got to write an episode of the Batman 66 show, and he just like broke down crying seeing his name on the screen.
Damn.
You know, I mean, and you know,
I still got to watch that, man. I haven't watched that.
It's fantastic.
Good. It's good. But yeah, I always love that stuff too, where they go through the different worlds and you know do all that stuff. That stuff's always fun.
But this is like, I cannot believe how innovative this one particular issue was.
Yeah, this is the best issue for me.
Yeah, by far. Like, and it could have been the pick of the week. Like, it was that freaking good, y'all. I'm telling you, this is next level. And Brian's right. It's talking about these like creative struggles and like how the IP can change and morph and how maybe like people don't appreciate some of the more innocent things from the past. And oh my goodness gracious. And Eddie, to answer your question, as far as what I understood from Nick, I think Nick told me that issues 1 and 2 of this Oni Press series are the stuff that came before. And then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are brand new. And it will make one complete trade paperback of like the full story. And it is, the artwork is amazing. The coloring is amazing. The story, the characterizations, it is so off wall, right? And doing something different. Like, y'all, we're going to be here at the end of February. We're going to be talking about the finale of Pink Lemonade. Okay. So it
might be the only thing we talk about.
It might be the only thing we talk about.
I don't know.
Hey, I'm just letting you all know because I was doing research to checking this out. It is all the issues are available from Diamond still. So you can order them. Oh, I'm just saying, Robbie, if you want to pump out Pink Lemonade, I'm just saying.
Hey, if you can't find them at your LCS, holler at me. We got them. We got them. Come on. It's good shit. Anyway,
we need to sell out Diamond.
Dude, are we influencers? Shouldn't we be just buying a shit bot from Diamond, telling people how good it is, and then turning around and selling it on one? I will staple the shit out of some acetates to some people.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
Hey, what's Clayton
I'm
Crane
just telling
doing?
He's not doing the covers for that guy
I
anymore.
have no idea.
Oh man.
He's
All
wide
right.
open.
Low blow. All right. Nick, what you got for this final round here, man?
Oh man. Okay, so this is a book that had me a little bit worried when I read the solicitation because they had some interesting comparisons to make to it. They were saying it's Blade Runner meets Saga, and I was like, okay, when I hear something like that, I was a little bit worried that it might not live up to the hype, but I think it does for sure. We're talking about Black Cloak issue #1 from Kelly Thompson, and this book was actually phenomenal. First off, I love that cover, that variant cover right there. This book was phenomenal. I think it did a great job of setting up this universe. It was a little bit confusing in the beginning, but as you read the story and you revisit it a second time, everything makes sense in the opening scenes of this issue. It's very clean artwork. It's actually reminds me of like a Fiona Staples, maybe because I was, had that Saga reference in my head, but it definitely has that same kind of vibe. If I had to categorize their styles, I would put it in there. But we live in a very fantasy kind of a realm. We have mermaids, we have elves, we have some other races and things like that. They're coming down off of a big war. And so they have nothing to really complain about or team up against. And so they kind of start bickering and start fighting within themselves. We follow a detective who's kind of in this case right now where a former lover of hers, a former fiance was murdered. He's of royalty descent. And so, she has to navigate those waters. She's got some bad blood in there. Very cool conversations. It's very flowy. The art style, it's nothing to look at first when you're flipping through, but it really mirrors the storytelling, I think. It was a great book. It was triple size, which was a great for issue #1. And it was just a fun read. I think the little cliffhanger at the end was great as well. It's a book I was worried about, but after I read it, I was like, I got to read this one again. And that's very rare for these new books that are coming out week to week. So I love Black Cloak #1 from Kelly Thompson.
I do really like Kelly Thompson. She wrote my favorite licensed comic of all time, Jim and the Holograms, which is honestly such a goddamn good book. Jim and the Holograms by Kelly Thompson. Read it. I promise you, it's so good. Even if you haven't watched the animated series, which I'm a huge fan of. This one didn't really sing for me, right? And maybe I need to reread it, pull an All Against All, and reread it before issue 2 comes out, because sometimes when those giant first issues come out from Image and in a big stack of books, man, sometimes I'm just like, bro, I don't want to read this. So I think that was what was happening with me there. But I'll definitely check it out based on your recommendation. I'll reread it again. What about you, Manny? You check that one out?
No, Nick has been talking it up. So this week I'm heading to the Twin Cities to some other shops. Hopefully I can find a copy.
Nice. How about you, Brian? Did you check it out?
I didn't check that one out. So.
Greg, how about
good,
you?
though.
I did check it out, actually. I think I'm more on your page here, Robbie. I didn't love it, and so I don't know if I just, because it was an oversized issue, that I didn't give it the time it needed. The artwork didn't hit for me. I think so. Being oversized in the art, it was a tougher read for me in that sense. I feel like this would have thrived a lot more, in my opinion, if it wasn't an oversized issue. It felt like there was a lot going on that nothing was going on. Like that, if it took away some of that, cleaned it up, put it in one issue, I think it would have been a lot better of a first issue. It was a lot of investment and not as much payoff as I was hoping in this setting right off the bat. So,
Greg, why are you always shitting on Nick's picks, man?
Sorry, guys, I just had this like Manny, existential.
Like this is how Manny feels every time I talk. This is insane.
Like, gang.
Well, Joe's not here, so Manny has to pick up the slack.
Yeah, right. Joe should have been here. Fuck.
No,
he should have been here.
Nick's like my only person that reads AWA with me, so like I can't crap on Nick's picks.
I'm working on it. I've got an AI program working right now that's just gonna spout off like Legion of Superheroes stuff all the time and tell us how bad new books are. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
It's
I will agree. When I got to the shop and I was flipping through it, I'm like, man, this art, I'm not going to vibe with this art. I don't think it's not going to be something. And there's some flashback moments in here where it gets like pretty sketchy. But then after I was reading, I'm like, wow, this is like perfect. And there's a cool little murder mystery going on. And I like the universe. There's a lot of characters, a lot at play here. So yeah, if you read it and you were kind of iffy on it, I would suggest going back and maybe we'll talk about it in February. I hope so.
I'll definitely check it out based on your recommendation, Nick.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll recheck it out, I should say. All right, Manny, what you got?
Boom. You know what? I could go 20th century, man. I could go all kinds of cool stuff, but I'm going to go Detective Comics 1068. Ron V absolutely killing it. And after that weird ass Batman book, I was nervous. I've been championing the Zdarsky V era. And then I read this last Batman. And I was like, don't he know that Dark Web is stupid as shit? I'm going to do it with Batman. But Detective was good. Rom gets to do what Rom does best, which is real, like, interesting, lyrical, poetic prose. And what I loved about this was as we reach the climax, he does this, like, because it's very operatic, right? He does this polyphonic thing where all the characters are singing totally different melodies, but they're all reaching the same fever pitch, and then it breaks, and there's a moment of broken tension where you actually feel the weight drain from your shoulders. Because really what's happening in this book is nothing we haven't seen before, right? I mean, Two-Face vacillating between good and evil, that's tropey as shit. Like that's what he does. But Ron V is able to keep it intimate. I think in my review I called it scrambled eggs. Everyone makes scrambled eggs. If you read a Two-Face book, he's scrambled eggs at brunch. You're getting this particular type of storyline. But Ron V knows how to make really good scrambled eggs, and not everyone does.
Once again, we're weird stretching about the eggs right now. Okay,
we warned you about this before the show.
Not all of us can afford eggs.
I haven't had scrambled eggs in months.
But this was so damn good. I love the Barbados stuff like way more than I probably should. I get so geeked out about it. It's just well written, well crafted, emotionally. He emotionally marionettes you throughout the whole thing, leads you on the journey. I love it. You were
talking about the Two-Face bit. Yeah, we've seen it before. Okay. Another thing we've seen before, Greg Rucka on Batman. He brings in these other people that were like offshoots of the League of Shadows, of the League of Assassins, right? Whisper, right? And these other people, right? And they show up and they can mutate. Abbott can mutate into like dogs and shit. And Greg Rucka kept this going on with the Crime Bible stuff and Batwoman, right? We've seen that. So it's villains coming in that are attached somehow to Ra's al Ghul and that mythology connected to Batman and Gotham's actually, there's a secret history to Gotham that you don't know, Bruce. How many times have we seen this shit? You know what I'm saying? But what's amazing is that he is structuring this like a fucking opera, right? And he's letting you know straight up, like, because it starts off with the prelude, like Gotham Nocturne prelude. Now we're in Act 1. We have interludes. We have this and that. And I am not an opera expert. And I'm going to have to cash in my card with Rom and be like, bruh, what the fuck is this structure? Like, I don't feel smart enough to really understand it. You helped me there, Manny, because you're a musical guy. And I like musicals, but you performed musicals. So you understand a lot more of this stuff. And maybe that leads more into the operatic feel of it. But holy shit, you're right. Like all of this stuff together and the visuals. This issue had Ivan Reis and Raphael Albuquerque going page to page. Did you notice? Barely. Holy shit, consistency. Rom V is doing a very cliche Batman story in a very incredibly sophisticated, structured way. Like, what the fuck? Like this is like, y'all better give this motherfucker a bonus. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this is something that's going to sit on shelves for years to come. You reading this one, right, Brian?
I am, but I didn't read the latest issue. Sorry. So I'm very excited to now, though. So, but I'm liking this run a lot. You know, I don't know. I hadn't. I got back into Batman with the Zdarsky and Ron V, you know, picking up those titles and everything. So, but yeah, I'm loving this run. I mean, I think this might be the best issue yet.
Yeah.
Honestly, probably. Yeah.
Honestly, okay. Which blows my fucking mind, dude. It's crazy. We got to try to get Ron back on the channel. As nervous as his beautiful hair makes me, we're gonna have to fucking try to get Ron back on.
That was definitely the most nervous I was for any show we've ever done.
No shit.
Like
I'm goddamn beaming and crushing the entire fucking time, dude. I'm just like, fucking Rom, you're so cool, man.
Oh, I had to go leave the house. I had to go on a hike in the woods and everything to decompress. I mean, it was, you know, I mean,
anytime we have those white noise guys on, man, we just feel so goddamn insecure, man. Don't we?
Yeah.
We just feel like we're not smart enough to talk to you. Greg, we're talking about DC books, so obviously you're reading it, right?
I am. But y'all making me have to read it with a different light, like, because I'm just like, I haven't been the biggest like fanboy of the Rom V run, but I'm looking at it now in a different light, and this is what I love about shows like this, as you know, you can bring your thoughts on it. I'm like, dang, I'm just stupid because I did not read it like an opera at all. I just read it from the cliche tropes of the Batman that I'm used to, but the artwork in here is. We talked about Jorge, who was on Batman, wasn't on the one, you know, earlier in the show, but Albuquerque and Ray, it's like their artwork is fantastic in it. Like that I think it was like a 9-page panel there with Two-Face crying and Batman. Like that was just sweet. The blood splattering there. It just is beautiful
as well.
Like and that one too. Yeah. The split, there were elements of that where I was just like, this is fantastic.
I didn't know which one to spotlight when you both. I was like,
both
wait,
good.
like
No, both. They're both good. They're both good. So now I want to go back and read it and just like almost have like a monocle and, you know, have opera music in the background. But I'm digging it.
Maybe we should listen. Like, what should I be listening to when I fucking read this? Because, and here's the thing: is like, we've had the conversation with Rom. Rom's been on our show with Manny, right? We talked to Rom before. Rhythm is so important to him.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm and like how he's so important to him. He out of everything, he wants to understand how to affect rhythm with storytelling in comics. That's why like Blue and Green was my favorite fucking book that year it came out.
Yeah,
it's like the way, and I love like Radio Apocalypse. Some people think it's pretentious. Oh, I got a playlist I got to listen to when I read this fucking book. Bullshit, right? No.
So good.
He's affecting your rhythm. He's wanting you to read it at the right pace. And the music in Radio Apocalypse, and God knows when that book's fucking coming back. Giga just goddamn ended. And I feel bad because I was like, that seems really profound.
Yep.
But I don't remember what happened in the last issue. Nick, you reading Detective?
Oh, dude, I'm loving Detective. I'm loving it. So if you're reading like Venom and Carnage and you're like, man, I just need that Rom V vibe in my life again, this is your book, man. I mean, the subject matter, the art perfectly mirrors like the vibe I get when I read a Rom V book. Like the characters are all portrayed perfectly and they mirror that style just so well. And I think it's beautiful, man. I have a greater appreciation after having this conversation with you guys, and I think I enjoy it even more. And I love the little ending as well. We get another character in that we haven't seen in a long time, but was introduced recently in another Batman book, coming back.
Yes.
And I'm like, thank you. I would love that character when I saw it.
What is
because Rom and Dan are homies, right?
Rom and Dan are homies, exactly.
Yeah, they're all playing in it, man.
I was like, hell yeah, we got that guy back. And then the little Danny thing at the very end and Salisbury little side story, it was great.
I love that like big dick energy from Rob with like, because his backup story in Justice League was fucking worlds better than anything happening in Justice League. So he's like, my backup stories in my Detective are going to be even fucking just as good as my book. So nice.
Yeah, bringing in Cy Spurrier and Danny, dude, like holy shit.
To do a backup. But it's like 8 pages.
It's the only backup stories I give a damn about, man. To be honest with you.
Yep.
Good pick, man.
Hell yeah, good pick. All right, Brian, what you got next?
Okay, I don't know if this counts for this month, but I received it this month from Kickstarter. The OZ #2.
Oh, I still haven't read mine. Man.
From David Papose, and I think it's Ruben Rojas on the art. If you're not familiar with this is it's the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy's, done the whole Wizard of Oz thing, and then is it her daughter or granddaughter or something?
Something like that, right?
Yeah, she's like in she's in a soldier, went to Afghanistan, and then she gets pulled into Oz, and Oz is the the occupied zone. So like the Scarecrow's taken over, and he's got a Scarecrow army, and then you've got the Cowardly Lion. That actually, this is where the Cowardly Lion comes in. I don't think the Cowardly Lion was in the first issue, but each issue is like 2 issues, really though. I mean, it's a chunky read, for a single issue. And David also has a background in reporting, and he was reporting with one of the things he did was talk to veterans when they came back, from Afghanistan and Iraq and things like that. So he understands that condition there, and that just like jumps out at you on all this, because it's she's there to try to help people, but it's like, still dealing with trauma from the other conflicts she's been in and everything. It's just it's a fantastic spin on the Wizard of Oz kind of mythology, and I don't know, I can't recommend it enough.
David Pepose is so good at the mashup, right?
Yeah,
but it goes further than that, right? It's not just a war story told through the lens of Wizard of Oz, right? It's such a great book. The first one, I haven't read the second one yet. I have it. And every time that they kickstart the next chapter and there's a third chapter coming, David asked to come on to the show. So fingers crossed, David wants to join us again, because he is leveling up right now as comic book writer. Savage Avengers is super fun. He's got some big Marvel work. I cannot wait for Spencer and Locke 3. Going to the chapel was amazing. Scout's Honor was amazing. He is a brilliant mind. We've chatted with him on the channel. We've chatted with him in the background. I've chatted with him in person at Heroes Con. Such a cool dude, friend of the show. And anybody who's not into the OZ, when eventually, if you've missed out on these Kickstarters, when the third one comes out, I'm sure you'll be able to get the first and the second issue. It is so good. Greg, you reading this one? Oh,
absolutely. Like you guys, what you talked about, and what cover did you have, Brian?
Well, I actually got all of them, and I was just looking around because I wanted to show off that Mon House one.
Okay,
that's the one I got right there.
I just like, this is one of those. It's like that doesn't do it justice. Like the rays, you can see the heads where it's the glossy on it.
Yeah,
that looks dope.
It just pops so well. Yeah, I mean, everything you guys have talked about with David Pepose, like he does the mashup so well and it's not in a hokey way in any capacity. And that's where I think that's where you see this with the OZ of there's a love for the mashup, right? There's a love for the source material that he's playing with in that world, but he's bringing it with a not cheesy take on it. And so, yeah, the OZ is fantastic. If you guys haven't checked it out, and dear Lord, I think every time I have Pepose on my show, I'm like, I ask him about Spencer and Locke 3, because I'm like, I need that again in my life.
Right. I think they're untangling some things, right, with the Action Lab.
Yeah, and that's got to be it.
Yeah, it's got to be. And the first time we had David on, we had a little bit of back chat, and he was like, I got this great pitch for Conan and Terminator. Right. And you remember that, Brian? You told us about that. And then the second time he goes, after the show, he goes, hey guys, do you remember when I told you about my Conan Terminator pitch? He's like, yeah. He goes, well, I pitched it to Marvel. I just changed Terminator to Deathlock, and they approved it. I'm doing Savage Avengers. And like that shit turned out pretty well, man. So David is a super cool dude. And I know David has a passion for Captain Planet. So somebody, whoever has the fucking license to Captain Planet, let's get David on that, because we talked to him about that, Brian, dude. He's got a pitch. He's ready. He's ready, dude. He could do 75 issues on Captain Planet, man. Y'all just get ready, man.
Find out who owns it. Who owns the rights to it, Manny. Figure it out.
I'm looking right now.
I knew if someone could do it.
Yeah, we're fact checking and doing all kinds of stuff in the background.
David, we'll do this work for you. If we have to crowdfund it ourselves, we'll do it, man. We're gonna make Pink Lemonade Volume 2.
We will buy it out. We will buy out the
Why is there no PCP publishing arm? Like, why does that not exist?
Not yet.
All right, how much do we got to pull together to get the rights to Captain Planet?
I'm gonna find it.
It can't be that much.
If Funny or Die can do their Don Cheadle shit, it can't be too much, right? So I don't know. All right.
I say we do a bootleg version and we sell it in a mystery box.
Yes.
Bootleg Captain Planet.
Yeah, you could probably legally do that.
Yeah.
Huh. We probably
we can bootleg it for sure.
We can bootleg it for sure.
Oh yeah, we can. Oh yeah.
All right, David.
Captain Earth.
All right. So anybody else read OZ? You guys? Nick, Manny?
No, I dropped
No,
the link in the chat for the old Kickstart. I need to.
I'm
pay
all
attention
kinds
to
of
it, though.
pissed off that I went to his website and I can't order it.
I know, me
'cause-
too. I just did the same thing.
They
on
will
the-
do a book 3, and
Yep.
you'll be able to get all of them, I'm sure. If not, there will be
Yeah.
a trade. But it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Imagine he'll have. I mean, I'm sure he'll have copies for sale. I mean, you can't even get one from him.
Mm-mm.
It
Not
doesn't
on his
look like it, no.
website.
He's
I'm
probably got
betting
him saved for when he
he-
goes to cons right now, man.
He's
Sure,
at
yeah.
C2E2, so I'm sure he'll have some there.
Oh, but I'm not a C2E2.
So
Yeah.
y'all just get
I
to
am.
Chicago.
But I am, Manny. I am. I'm saying I can work some stuff for
Ooh.
you.
But we don't like each other, Greg. We're famous for that.
It's,
He doesn't like Nightwing.
it's a gimmick, gang. It's a gimmick.
Oh, dude, I will totally hit you up. I will totally hit you up. I only live like 6 hours away. I should just
I
go
think
to
Real
Chicago.
Dude- I think Real Dude 6 is in to help us invest in the Captain Planet, right? So
Awesome.
we just need somebody to figure this out. So Nick, I'm going to point you. Figure out how much it's going to cost to get the Captain Planet rights, and we'll do it. We'll get it.
Each of the panel members, we get one of the elements. We're in control of it.
Nice.
Let's see if we can get Whatnot involved.
Oh,
Like that was,
Oh,
all
man.
right, never mind. Anyway, nah, fuck that. We'll get Bueller involved. Bueller will help us sell some books. All right. Where were we?
Where were we?
By the way, I have a Whatnot link, affiliate link. You can go to whatever. Where the fuck are we? Who just said what?
Me.
Oh,
It's
Greg,
Greg, Brian. It's me.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, what you got? Thank you.
I'm gonna throw one that I feel like I'm probably one of the few on the panel reading, but this is Volume 2, Issue 3 from Ahoy Comics. My bad. And you got the Bewitched cover right there. This is by Mark Russell, Bryce Ingram, and Peter Krause is doing the art on it. It is this. There's always 3 stories in this comic that they have, and you always have the main story of you have a main character named Chandelier who is a parody of
awesome.
Batman, and it's hilarious. And you've got Manchild who is a Hulk archetype, and it just is this. It's this really. It's the Mark Russell humor. If you like Mark Russell's writing,
Yeah.
it's really good. And he's always in the first story, and Bryce Ingram is in the second 2 stories. He kind of takes the lead. And I didn't realize that Bryce was doing the writing until halfway through the volume when I was like talking with Mark on my show. And I was like, he's like, why don't you have Bryce on and talk with him? Because he wrote more of it than me. And it's just is a lot of fun. I love when I can read a comic and it can make me laugh out loud. So
Nice. Anybody
Awesome.
else reading this one?
Oh, what was it called? My bad. Right.
my bad. So there's a
All right.
volume 1 already out. And this is volume 2.
Right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm not reading it, and I guess Nick's not, and Manny's probably not because he looks confused over there.
No, the only thing from Ahoy I think I've ever read Billionaire Island or whatever. I think that's probably the only thing I've ever
I
read.
read Second Coming.
Second Coming.
Yeah, Second Coming is done.
Nope.
The
Yep.
Mark Russell one with Superman and Jesus, basically.
Yep.
That's a good
Oh,
one. Now Brian does read My Bad. He's one of only 2 people at my shop that read that book. Not
2.
saying that that's. I'm not saying that that's anything negative against the book. Ahoy
No,
does
it's-
not get a lot of support, so I
No.
appreciate you bringing it up.
Right.
I love
Yeah.
Ahoy.
What do you think,
That,
Brian, about My Bad?
I love My Bad, man. It's but yeah, I haven't read a Mark Russell book that I didn't like. You know, I mean, I love him too, man. I did get a chance to meet him when I was in Portland, and it was when I think Flintstones was coming out, and so he got me to read a Flintstones comic, and it's fucking awesome. I mean, like, you need to read Flintstones. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, you got My Bad. That's the one. It has Acid Chimp in it too. Right?
Yeah, Acid Chimp's in it. Yep.
And the villain's King Emperor.
Yep.
I mean, it's like,
Right.
and Acid Chimp is awesome, by the way, too. But yeah, just the characters he comes up with, and his humor's on full display in that. And yeah, it's a fantastic book.
Nice. You know, you make me feel bad for not reading it because I do like Mark Russell, right? And Traveling to Mars is one that I really, really want to. It's not even on my list, but I just want to shout that one out too. Mark Russell's fucking really good. His Flintstones book, his Snagglepuss book, his goddamn, what was the One Star Squadron?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that was
fucking
great.
book. Then he did a Porky Pig Lex Luthor book
Yeah.
that I absolutely adored as well. Like Mark Russell is able to, not all robots, he's able to throw in social commentary and political satire, but not be like overbearing with it. And I really appreciate that like humorous approach that he has in his work. And I'm really excited to see more of Not All Robots, because I think we're getting a book 2.
We're getting a book 2, and Second Coming Volume 3 is coming out.
Dude, that book is so good.
Yes.
That book is so good, and I've praised that book since its inception. Originally, it was going to be a Vertigo book.
Yeah.
And the controversy got too hot, and so they moved it over to Ahoy. And I love that book, and I've actually had people tell me on the channel they were praying for me because I love that book, and I guess I appreciate that.
Space Age too, Superman, right?
Well, Richard
Yeah,
Case on the
Superman
art
Space
for that.
Age.
Right.
Oh yeah, Richard Case on the artwork for Second Coming, and yeah, Marco Russell writing Space Age, which we're getting the final issue.
Incredible.
Hopefully, we should be talking about it next month, as well as the next issue
late
of
next
Swamp
month.
Thing Green Hell. Holy cow!
I'll believe it.
Oh, that's
when I
finally
see
coming out.
it.
Okay.
Well, it was solicited for January, and now it's back to February. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath.
All right, it's
Yeah.
time for rapid fire, y'all. The books that we didn't get to, but we want to talk about. Nick, kick us off.
Oh, okay. So let's start with being fast with the rapid fire. Bootleg Spider-Man. I was able to take advantage of that kayfabe effect and grab that. It was such a fun little read. Dude, it's so fun. I
Dude,
like
you
it.
got to bring that to the expo so we can flip through it together.
Yeah, absolutely. I've read it a couple times so far. It was so cool. It's sold out on superhero comics, but on the third-party sites and stuff like that, it's insane. So the kayfabe effect is real. It's a really fun, interesting story. So yeah, I like that one a lot. That was more of a flex than anything.
That was a really nice flex, bro. I just
was
want
a
you
good
to know,
flex.
man. You had me like cream myself when I saw that. I was like, that's why, dude, bring that to the expo. We'll flip.
Right.
We'll do a video, Nick. Let's do a video. Let's do a collab. We'll like flip through it. We'll kayfabe it, man. Let's do it.
I have like 4 of the other superhero comic books as well. So yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. We just talked about Mark Russell, but Traveling to Mars, this latest issue was really great. There's no action at all in it, but it's just so introspective and it's narration heavy, but it still feels real at the same time. So if you like that self-exploratory, these are the regrets of my past kind of stuff, that's a great book. Recommend that one. We touched on this one too from Jason Aaron, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. Love the character dynamics between our 2 characters here. Very different. They're rubbing off on each other a little bit. That relationship's building, and we're learning how toxic this world can be, and a little bit more about our antagonists as well. And it kind of has like a twig aspect to it, where like each page is like a little bit more absurd than the last one from an environment perspective. And so that was kind of fun. That's a cool one to keep an eye out on. We talked about Mark Miller a little bit earlier, but Nightclub, man, $1.99 book. No reason not to be picking this one up. Cool vampire story, a little twist on the classic vampire tale. He's recruiting a very specific kind of person, and it kind of makes him more of a likable person, I suppose. But we're building. This is an issue where we're kind of exploring our powers and letting our close friends know what's going on. I feel like it's going to head in a dark place pretty soon. I don't trust the intentions of the guy kind of setting up this team right now.
Goddamn,
Last
cheaper
book-
than Spawn, by the way.
Cheaper than Spawn, and it's awesome. It's a great book. Last one I'm going to go over is Barbaric issue number 1. This is crazy. Hell to Pay. Insane book. So fun. Everything you love about the original Barbaric run, if you read that one, it's carried over and then amplified. It's incredible, and I love seeing Owen in Hell. I think he's going to have a great time in there, and we're going to explore that in the further issues. Art is insane in here too. Barbaric's a great read. Check that one out too.
Hell yeah. Nice rapid fire, Nick. Thank you so much for that. Some great
Got it.
suggestions. What about you, Manny? What you got?
One second, I just have to hit send. I just sent a request to TBS to get the licensing rights to Captain Planet. And
let's get Nick Barucci in on this, man. Maybe we can make this happen.
dude, heck yeah.
Hey, I see you out there. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, remind me.
So I did kind of tell them that our company is Pop Culture Philosophers Publishing, and that we've been in business for 6 years. So
Okay.
we'll see.
I guess we're a publisher.
It's Pop Culture Publishing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. No,
I
I
will-
like
I will
PCP
correct
publishing,
that.
actually. I like that. PCP
If they
publishing.
even-
I like that.
So all right, so let's go 20th Century Men, of course. This month was a weird issue. This is the first one I had to read 3 times per the Rockin Robbie.
Wasn't that technically a December?
It was a December book. I wasn't going to call him out on it though.
Okay,
No.
I did because I was like, I don't want anybody to misconstrue.
Never
me
mind.
having that on my
Screw that. That was last year. I ain't about that.
That
life.
was so last year, Manny.
Samurai Doggy. You want to see graffiti, crazy samurai action, and you want to be done reading a book before you've closed the fucking cover? This is the book for you. It is so fast. It is just a dog.
This was a real big week for me, Manny. I really appreciated that issue. I
Yeah.
was like, this is what I needed.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
If you're illiterate, it's perfect.
still so fun. Behold Behemoth. Good, very good book.
Yep.
That's a glowing recommendation, right? Legacy of Violence. If you like Andrea Moody and you like everything he's done, this looks just like everything he's done. It's the exact same book, but this one's got a serial killer in a mask, just like that shitty Nick Spencer book, Bedlam. But this one is Andrea Moody, so buy it because it's good enough. And then Gargoyles, because I want Dynamite to keep making this. This wasn't the greatest issue, but
it was better than
be.
one.
It was better than one. I did not have to get a list of who people are dating, which I appreciated. Instead, I just got a lot of stuff with Talon, who, if you watch the cartoon show, you still won't remember because Talon and Maggie are in like 2 episodes. But if you read a bunch of comics that nobody else read, then you will know who those characters are. But otherwise, I'm excited for more of them. I hope that it goes. I think Wiseman thinks he's very clever, and I hope that he evens that out just a little bit as the series continues.
He is a wise man, but the artwork is way more dynamic than the story is, and that's a problem for me right there.
Absolutely, and it's very lore heavy. Darkwing Duck, on the other hand, you could jump right into. That was a great book.
Is that one of yours?
I guess I don't know. I didn't throw it up, but
I'm
yes.
gonna keep it on my list then.
Okay.
Darkwing Duck is fucking badass, by the way.
It was awesome.
It was really fucking good. Okay. Is that what you got for Rapid Fire, Manny?
Yes, because last month I took like 70 books.
Yeah.
So
well, 20th Century Men is really good.
It is.
We're gonna get one soon. So maybe next week or two, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Yeah, coming very soon. Brian, Rapid Fire.
Okay. It was mentioned briefly earlier, but Giga 5. Yeah, similar. I can't say that I remembered everything that happened in the first 4 issues, but I really liked the finale and the I do think Alex stuck the landing with the story here, and I guess some of the pages weren't done by John Lay, but I couldn't tell really, except for maybe
the very last like 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, the last couple pages you could kind of tell, but it didn't pull me out. I could just tell it didn't pull me out of any of the emotional weight of what was going on here. I thought this was a pretty emotional issue, finale and everything. And but yeah, I was super excited that this came out and everything.
Now that's out, I can say that when we had Alex on the channel a few months ago to talk about All Against All, before we went live, I was like, hey man, before we go live, what the fuck, man, Giga, what the fuck? And he was just like, man, 5's coming out in January. Sorry, couldn't be helped. There's another artist that does the last few pages, but I couldn't tell, man. And I can't wait to read it together because Giga has been great, like Sugar Ray's Mark McGrath says. So thank you, Mark.
Really looking forward to the trade for that one, but sure. But yeah, I also got Chroma.
Yeah.
This one, it's an artist, doing his own story that I guess he was developing this for years, and everything. But really, like, I love the first 2 issues, but I really like this one. Like, it was one I wanted to reread again, like immediately afterwards. And it's got some, I don't know if I can flip.
Is Lorenzo doing the coloring?
Yeah.
I think dude, is so holy cow, right? And for a book that the coloring is part of the theme.
It's beautiful art, man.
And that alone, like, I don't know, just, no words. You don't need them. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. So I highly recommend this book. And I think there's only one more issue.
Issue. How they got to close it, man? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
See. But I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, it was a fairly slow build up to this, but it was so exciting.
Yeah.
This one, like
totally agree.
I loved it. And then sorry, Let's set that aside. Got a Know Your Station by Sarah Gailey and our friend Liana Kangas. They did the art for She Said Destroy, which is most of our introductions to their work, and phenomenal.
And Joe.
Yeah. However, I think they've leveled up on this. The art on this is
it's like, Liana's best work, I think, for sure.
Yeah. And
outside of like best comics work.
Yeah.
Liana's work, like just doing art, is fucking phenomenal.
Covers and stuff. It's fantastic.
Holy
yeah. But highly recommend this book.
She'll be in Huntsville too.
She'll be in Huntsville. She's actually PCP's guest. We'll be there.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Really looking forward to that. So, and then I wanted to bring up Kaya. Not sure if folks are reading this one. It's Wes Craig.
Gotta mark that one off my list, bro. That's a good one.
Oh, sorry. But again, kind of like Chroma, like I loved the first issues, but this one hit pretty hard. And you definitely find out more of the main characters and everything, and their interactions are, there's really good tension in there. And I don't know. It's, and if you liked Deadly Class, I definitely think you'll like this, but that's one thing that's beautiful about Wes Craig to me is the way he can just command a new style. And because this is a totally different art style than Deadly Class.
It looks completely different, bro. It's like storybook almost in a way.
Yeah. It takes you back to old school fantasy stuff, and everything. Yeah, it's so good. So good. And then
I don't hear anybody else talking about that book but us.
I need to check that out because I'm going through I'm going through Deadly Class right now and I'm loving it. So
it's such a great book. So good. And I got Crashing here. We got the finale for Crashing. Any stories that have to do with recovery are always going to hit pretty hard with me. And I just thought this was a really good exploration of that. I mean, there's superhero stuff in it and everything. And so it, has an interesting concept and everything like that. But it was just, it was a heavy read, but so good. So good. I don't know. Highly recommend this one. And then for the last one, I'm really digging this Damn Them All. The one with the demons and the coins and everything, and it's just the chaos that's been going on. But I do like the story, but really the art for this is what's just killing me on here. The way Charlie Adler does the demons and the effects with all that stuff, because like
the coloring, right, where it looks, it's like it's unsettling to see
like
them,
misty.
Bruh.
It's like All Against All in a way. That has that same kind of vibe.
Yeah. And but in this one also they kind of explain that, through math, the way they appear and everything like that. And I thought that was just a super cool explanation for all that stuff. And you felt the pain, that a lot of these, these demons and stuff are going through. I don't know. I just it's
the best Hellblazer book I've read in 20 years.
Very true. I didn't make that connection. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, great book.
She's Constantine's niece. That's I think Size even said that this is like where he wanted to take the Hellblazer.
This is a Constantine story he couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea.
It's like the Sandman TV show. Like we're following not Constantine, but the girl, the descendant,
Joanna.
Yeah.
And actually utilizing info pages, right? Like all the X-Men fucking books do now. Like when Hickman did Hoxpox, it was cute. Then it got really fucking obnoxious. Now I skip all that shit, right? And I'm even tempted to skip it here and Damn Them All. But I love magic and demonology and the Key of Solomon and the Goetia and all that kind of shit. So like it's really cool to see that Simon knows what he's talking about,
right?
When he does this stuff, and it's really
there's an authenticity to this, right? What he brings to it, because and he even points out how much garbage there is out there on that, and but this like just has a feel to it that's different.
And Charlie Adler, the artist, The Walking Dead. Okay, this is not like The Walking Dead at all.
No.
Way more dynamic. It lets us know that Walking Dead wasn't static because of him. Anyway. That was a little jive. Walking Dead's not that great. All right. Greg, what you got for it's hot take time. Walking Dead's not as good as you fucking remember. Anyway,
so first book I want to share is Walking Dead.
Thank you.
But no, just because you made that slight, Robbie, I'm taking a book off your list. We're going Darkwing Duck. Holy nostalgia. I mean, so freaking good. Is it ever going to be my pick of the week as like the best comic book I read? No, but is it going to sit me down like I'm eating a bowl of sugary cereal and taking me right back to watching an episode of Darkwing Duck? Yes. And that's what I'm getting. So my second pick of the week is Darkwing Duck. Let's just go rapid fire. Darkwing Duck, Darkwing Duck, Darkwing Duck, Darkwing Duck, and Darkwing Duck. So
yes. Dude, that book was so goddamn good. And Megavolt, man. Megavolt.
So good.
And they're like, cell phones control our minds. This is like a perfect like moral lesson. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love it.
Yeah.
They're leveling it up a little bit. And
self-contained.
Yes, and that's it. If you had no experience with Darkwing Duck as a child, I pity your childhood, but you can hop into this and at least be aware of what's going on. Next one, I think it's not getting talked about enough. Batman: The Adventure Continues, season 3. They're on season 3 now. We're getting stories that you didn't think you needed. Like, I think it was season 2 where we had Batman and Deadman team up. Like, come on, like, let's go. Paul Dini's writing with Burnett on it. This one you have basically someone who knows the ins and outs of the mob, and he's in prison, and all the Arkham asylums are, all the villains in Arkham are trying to get him. It's just a lot of fun.
Are we supposed to know who Discount Bronze Tiger is in that book? Because I had no idea who that guy is. I was like, I don't know who the hell this is.
No, I'm not specking at all. I'm literally just a nerd that loves Darkwing Duck. So, but you're exactly right. He looks like Discount Bronze Tiger. It's just such a slept on Batman book, and I think it's because people are like, oh, it's an animated series comic. It's a really good Batman story. So, I'd be remiss if I did not mention from Vault the final conclusion for Mindset, issue number 6. Zach Kaplan. We've talked about this on the show, so that's why I didn't want to bring it up earlier. But John Pearson's artwork, what he was doing with this book, I think was just breaking the rules, changing the game. With what he was doing with the layouts and the formatting and the artwork on it was Zach's writing and story is great. I thought it was a great conclusion to where we were going with the whole thing, but Pearson's artwork was the standout for me. Yes. And then I'll just throw in, as we're getting towards the end of Human Target, we got 2 issues this month, so I can throw both up. So boom, boom.
I'm going to keep that one on my fucking list, just so you know.
That's fine. I'll let you talk about it then.
It's really
okay. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
So those are my rapid fires.
Yeah, I'll let you take Darkwing Duck. That Darkwing Duck was fucking dope. Yo.
So good.
It was so goddamn good. It was everything I wanted Gargoyles to be.
Right.
That wasn't.
Right. But it was so goddamn good. And if we keep this pace going, man, this could be a big deal for Dynamite. It sold over 100K for issue number 1, by the way.
Damn, half of them are in Beardeds.
Mostly because of Greg. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and they're putting out so many freaking covers for that. Next month's the same. I'm screwed.
I had to get.
You're surprised Dynamite's putting out a bunch of variant covers?
No, but I know it's never an issue for me because I never read Dynamite books, and now they have a property that I care about.
You should read more, man. Man, do you like Elvira?
No, but I trust David Avalone on it. So, like, I don't know much about. I shouldn't say I don't like Elvira. I don't know enough to know who her character as much. But I know David Avalone is fantastic. So.
That's a really good book, man. I can steer you clear on the Dynamite train. All right. My rapid fire, Mosley, the new Boom book.
Yeah,
my first pick of the week for the year. Rob Guillory. I wish he did the art here, but I love what Sam Lofty's doing with the artwork. It's basically the Moses story, but in a futuristic world where we have created these advanced civilizations through AI and have allowed the AI to basically become our gods, right? And they engineer society and we worship them. And now we need a new Moses figure to come out and kind of fight against that. I love that story. Sword of Azrael, number 6 by Dan Waters. Holy fucking cow. Not only is Dan Waters intelligent, sexy, he is such a great writer for Jean-Paul Valley. This is the best work of Azrael I've ever read, and I've read every goddamn Azrael comic out there, okay? This is the fucking best. 10,000 Black Feathers, number 5. I can't believe we almost made it through a monthly review without talking really about Jeff Lemire. But Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino killed this ending. I absolutely loved it. Tying in to the other stuff that was going on, bringing it all to a head to get us really excited for the next part of the Bone Orchard mythos, right? Bloodstained Teeth number 8. I don't think I really talk about it too much, but it's been 8 issues on this book. I am still enthralled by it, captivated by it. It's a vampire story. Vampire Council says you can't turn humans into vampires. We can't have half-breeds. Well, this one dude is a vampire for hire. If you want somebody to turn you into a vampire, he'll do it for money. The council comes after him, says, you got to go and kill every single vampire simp that you made, or whatever they call them, right? I think they call them vamp simps. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, it's a great book. And in this issue, he's going up against, what if Gordon Ramsay was a vampire? That's what's going on in this issue. And it's awesome. And the artwork and the coloring, artwork by Patrick Reynolds, I believe. It could be very static and stiff, but Heather, who is it? Heather Moore, maybe? The colorist on this book is doing some of the best work. Maybe I got those flipped. One Bad Day, 2 great issues for One Bad Day this month. Bane and Catwoman. Loved both of them. I think that whole one-shot experiment, which I was not on board with at first, has gotten better. Old Dog number 3. The best issue of Old Dog yet. Declan Shalvey's artwork is amazing. The story is fantastic. GCPD, The Blue Wall number 4. John Ridley knows how to write a story. I mean, he won an Academy Award for it, so I shouldn't be surprised by that. And anybody who thought I was crying when I was talking about the GCPD Blue Wall, when I was talking about my pick of the week, no, I was just drunk. Anyway, World's Finest number 11 was absolutely awesome. I loved that book. I thought it was amazing. JSA number 2 for this week, Jeff Johns leveling up again. A really interesting approach. Future, present, and past recontextualized all in the same story. Love that. Hitomi number 4. Hitomi. What a great fucking book. And number 4 really cements it as not just a good image book, but like a really fucking good book. And the last one I want to talk about is a book that I think is disturbingly sexy. Lovesick. Lovesick number 4. In this issue, we got 2 people ripped apart, guts, intestines, lungs, hearts, all over the fucking place, and 2 people fucking all around it.
It's gnarly, dude.
I mean, it's gnarly, man. So Lovesick, and that's my rapid fire. So great show, everybody. Some great recommendations, a great kickoff to the best of the month 2023. We'll be here every single goddamn month. It's going to be the last Thursday of every month for the most part. We'll see what happens. However, 12 episodes, actually 11 now. We're committed to this goddamn bit this year because we want you to nominate us for the best collaboration on the CBC Awards. So come on, y'all. We want them to have to send like 20 awards to everybody that's on the panel. Anyway, Nick, links in the description below to everybody on this panel, by the way. Sub up their channels. Congrats, Bearded, on 1,000. But Nick,
yeah, man. Good job.
What you got coming up, man? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, regular stuff. So I have Nick and I, my weekly non-spoiler comic book review show, very similar to this right here. Comes out on Saturday nights, and I just got it done filming it today, so it's going to be out on Saturday night. I do haul videos, I do review videos, I do what's coming out, FOC kind of stuff, and I'm getting more into some unboxing things on Mondays, and I'm also going to have a new how to get in comic books today. The topic is quick price checking when you're at the con, when you're trying to sell stuff, when you're trying to buy stuff. Are you getting a good price for it? I have my tips for that coming out on Monday. So as always, man, thanks so much for having me on. I'll see you next month, dude. It's been a blast.
Absolutely, Nick. Love you so much. Manny, thanks, I love you, and I'm lazy. I want to admit I've been lazy. I need your new logo. Just send it to me in a nice circle, and I can incorporate it into the next panel. But Manny, what you got coming
It'll
up?
be Chamorro Cinema before I even get that over to you. So like the way I rebrand is just nuts. But guys, if you've been watching for the last 2 hours and 20 minutes, you've seen all you need to see of me until you watch Surf Ninjas. So go check out Cat Fan Comics, man. This is a channel I've been watching a lot more of lately. He does this daily comic and a collectible, which is 2 things I absolutely love, where he gives us a spotlight on a comic book, a character, and a unique collectible that goes along with that. He just did a Black Panther Funko pin and Black Panther comic books and some history of the character. Absolutely love it. Great, well-made content. Go check out Cat Fan Comics, man. Y'all go check him out.
Nice spotlight. If someone can throw a link up in the description, that would be great. Brian, thank you for being here. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, it's awfully glad to be here. I love talking comics, and I think next time I'll be on the channel is Flash Gordon movie night, which is often I tell people my favorite movie. It is. I saw it so much when I was a kid. It was pretty much my favorite movie as a kid. So really looking forward to talking about Flash Gordon.
Nice. Bearded, thank you so much for being here. Even though Manny's a complete shit to you, man, we appreciate it at least. Tell us what's coming up, man.
Man, I'm excited. I'm glad that we're doing this monthly. I'm glad that I got to celebrate 1,000 with y'all. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else, gang. I'm doing a lot of shorts right now, trying to just tap into that. So just trying to do funny stuff with that. It's kind of how I voice theme my channel is. I don't have the knowledge as everyone else, so I'm just going to try to entertain a little bit. That's why we have shows with my wife with Name That Character and our cooking show. Both are coming back with some new episodes soon. I'm working on some interviews. We've talked about Mark a lot. Mark Russell, I'm interviewing him tomorrow again, so he's coming back to the show. So we'll and there's some bigger.
Tell him PCP says hi.
Yeah, I will.
If he seems confused, just don't elaborate.
And there's I've got a couple other ones that I'm setting up that I'll probably be comfortable announcing next month. So that'll be fun. But just I mean, it's a random entertainment comic stuff and then interviews. Like that's my brand. If you don't like interviews or silly comic book content, thanks still for subscribing. So
he just drops 10 subs. He's like, I'm below 1,000 now. Thanks.
Dang it. I'm the only one that went. Like literally all Robbie's like, as soon as we log off, we're just gonna unsubscribe again.
Hitting 1,000 for the 5th time was the greatest achievement I made. So
no shit. It happens that way, doesn't it? Yeah. Like, oh, we got it. No.
Yep.
We got it.
So boost some stats real quick, gang.
Yeah, right. No kidding. I want you to check out Go Figure Reviews. They just dropped their latest video with me. I got to be in studio with Brooks and Jelani for the first time in a long time in studio doing a video. I had a lot of fun. We talked about the Masters of the Universe movie figures that they did for the Masterverse line or whatever. The He-Man does not look like Dolph Lundgren at all. But the Skeletor is badass. But that was a fun video to put up. They just hit 100 subs. And very jealous of how quickly they got there. Dylan's Horror Show is doing a Twilight Zone episode. That will be tomorrow night. They'll be covering episodes 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Time, I'll have Anna Mia back on the channel. Mia is always a pleasure to have on the channel. She's a cosplayer. She's a comic book writer. She's an influencer. She's a spokesperson. She is absolutely a treat and a joy to have on the channel. She's got a new Kickstarter book with Red Sonja coming up, so we'll be talking about that. Outside of that, Rockin Robbie Live does finally fucking return on Sunday. Very excited for that. And we'll have some fun there. I'm looking for the shit right now. Oh, Saturday night. Dylan's Horror Show. Tourist Trap. Never seen this film. Excited to talk about it, but y'all, we've been doing PCP for like 7 years now. It's all been leading up to Monday night. Right, Manny? Monday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Surf Ninja for PCP
Holy
movie
buckets.
night. It's going to be awesome. The most important film in PCP history. Anyway, we really do appreciate it. On behalf of everybody, station and pop, boom.